Most people want a better life, but keep living with the same habits that hold them back. They wait for more confidence. They wait for more energy. They wait for the perfect time, and while they wait, life keeps moving. This audiobook is for the person who is ready to stop waiting and start changing. Inside this message, you will learn how to build real discipline, face fear, stay focused, and keep going when motivation drops. You will hear simple truths that can help you improve your days, strengthen your mind, and take control of your actions. No empty talk, no complicated ideas, just clear guidance you can use in real life. This is for the tired person who still wants more, for the busy person who feels behind, for the person who knows deep down that they are capable of better. Stay with this message to the end, because each part is designed to help you think more clearly, act with more strength, and push past the limits that have been holding you back. Chapter 14: Break comfort zones and take bold daily action. Most people do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they keep living inside the same safe boundaries long after those boundaries have become a prison. Comfort feels calm at first. It feels familiar. It feels easy. It gives short relief and long regret. A person can live for years inside comfort and still feel tired every morning because the mind knows when it is being held back. Deep down there is always a part of you that wants more. More strength, more discipline, more peace, more respect for yourself, more proof that your life is not being wasted. Breaking comfort zones begins with a simple truth. Growth and comfort do not travel together for long. One expands your life. The other protects your habits. One makes you stronger. The other makes you softer. One gives you power in hard moments. The other makes hard moments feel unbearable. This is why so many people stay stuck. They confuse comfort with safety. They think avoiding discomfort means protecting themselves. But the person who never faces discomfort also avoids progress. They avoid the pain of change and then live with the heavier pain of regret. A disciplined life begins when you stop asking how to feel ready and start asking what needs to be done. That shift changes everything. Readiness is not a feeling that arrives to bless you. Readiness is something you build through action. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving while fear is present. Strength is not built in easy moments. Strength is built when you do the thing you have been avoiding and survive it. Every time you act while uncomfortable, you teach your mind a powerful lesson. You are not ruled by fear. You are not owned by doubt. You are not limited by the version of yourself that wants to stay small. There is a quiet struggle in many lives. People know what they should do. They know the phone should be put down. They know the work should begin. They know the conversation should happen. They know the workout should start. They know the apology should be given. They know the application should be sent. They know the business should be built. They know the study session should begin. Yet they wait. They wait for more energy. They wait for confidence. They wait for the right day. They wait for a better mood. And while they wait, life keeps moving. Time does not pause for hesitation. It does not pause for self-doubt. It does not pause for excuses. The first step to breaking your comfort zone is to become honest about where you are hiding. Honesty is powerful because it removes fantasy. You cannot change what you refuse to face. Look at your day with clear eyes. Where do you avoid effort? Where do you delay? Where do you tell yourself stories that protect you from discomfort? Maybe you avoid speaking up because you fear being judged. Maybe you avoid starting because you fear failing in public. Maybe you avoid finishing because success would require more responsibility. Maybe you avoid discipline because discipline reveals how much control you truly have over your life. These are not small matters. They shape your future. Do not shame yourself for these patterns. Shame weakens. Truth strengthens. The goal is not to attack yourself. The goal is to see yourself clearly and then rise. A calm mind looks at weakness without panic. It does not dramatize the problem. It simply says, this is where I am and this is where I need to go. That is a stoic way to live. You do not waste energy on self-pity. You use your energy on action. Start with one daily act that makes you uncomfortable in a good way, not something reckless, not something foolish, something honest, something useful. Say the thing you have been avoiding saying. Make the call. Send the message. Wake up when you said you would wake up. Walk into the room and speak with clarity. Begin the task before you feel like it. End the habit that weakens you. Keep one promise to yourself each day that requires effort. Small repeated acts of courage build a new identity. After a while you stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates. You begin to see yourself as someone who acts. Your comfort zone often survives because your standards are too low. When your standards are low, your mind finds many excuses to protect them. It tells you that doing a little is enough. It tells you that waiting until tomorrow is harmless. It tells you that other people are luckier and therefore your effort matters less. These thoughts can feel believable when repeated often. But thoughts are not commands. They are only thoughts. You do not need to obey every thought that enters your mind. Learn to question the weak ones. Ask whether they are helping you become stronger or merely helping you stay still. Discomfort is not always a warning. Often it is a signal that growth is near. When you step into unfamiliar territory, your body may resist. Your mind may complain. Your pride may feel exposed. This does not mean you should stop. It means you are close to something important. The mind prefers what it already knows. It resists the new because the new demands effort. But effort is where self-respect is built. The person who learns to act through discomfort becomes harder to break. Such a person can face criticism without collapsing, can face pressure without panicking, can face uncertainty without freezing, can face life with a steady spine. Bold action does not always look dramatic. Most of the time it is quiet. It is waking up and doing the work. It is opening the book and studying. It is saying no when something threatens your focus. It is telling the truth when silence would be easier. It is choosing the hard conversation over months of confusion. It is doing one more set, one more page, one more task, one more honest attempt. Boldness is not always loud. Often it is simply refusal to be lazy when laziness is tempting. One reason people stay trapped in comfort is that they make change too large in their mind. They imagine a perfect transformation and then feel overwhelmed by its size. They look at the mountain and forget to take the first step. Do not think in terms of transforming your whole life in one day. Think in terms of the next right action, the next useful action, the next brave action. A life changes through repeated movements, not through inspiration alone, not through motivation alone, through repeated action. If you want to break your comfort zone, then stop negotiating with yourself at every moment. Make decisions ahead of time. Decide what time you will wake up. Decide when you will work. Decide how long you will train. Decide how you will respond when doubt appears. Decide what habits you will not allow. A person who decides in advance is harder to distract. The battle is easier when the choice has already been made. This is how discipline begins to replace weakness. You reduce the number of moments in which your mood gets to govern your life. There will be days when everything in you wants to delay. On those days, remember that discomfort is not your enemy. It is your trainer. It reveals your weak points. It shows you where you still depend on comfort. It exposes your habits without sugarcoating. That exposure can be painful, but it is also useful. The wise person does not run from what reveals the truth. The wise person uses the truth to improve. Think about the actions that once frightened you but now feel ordinary. Maybe you once feared speaking in front of others. Maybe you once feared starting a workout. Maybe you once feared being alone with your thoughts. Maybe you once feared reaching out to someone. Each time you crossed one of those lines, your world became larger. This is proof that fear often lies. It makes a boundary look permanent when it is only temporary. What feels impossible today can become normal through repeated practice. This is why small acts of courage matter so much. They train you for greater challenges. When you step beyond comfort, protect your attention. Comfort grows stronger when your attention is scattered. Distraction gives weakness room to breathe. If you spend your whole day jumping between messages, videos, updates, opinions, and random noise, then your mind never has the quiet needed for courage. A scattered mind becomes weak. A focused mind becomes dangerous in the best sense. It becomes capable. It becomes clear. it becomes hard to control from the outside. So create space, reduce noise, spend time without endless input, sit with your own thoughts, learn to hear your own voice again. There is strength in silence because silence reveals what is true. Another key to bold action is accepting that people may not understand your changes. Some will be used to your old self. They may question your new habits because your growth reminds them of what they have not yet done. Do not let that stop you. Your life is not a public vote. You do not need full approval before improving. You need commitment. You need consistency. You need the courage to keep going while others remain confused by your direction. Respect their opinions without surrendering your path. When you begin acting with more courage, you will also discover your excuses more clearly. Excuses are often clever. They do not always sound lazy. Sometimes they sound responsible. Sometimes they sound cautious. Sometimes they sound wise. But an excuse usually has one purpose. It keeps you from discomfort. It keeps you from effort. It keeps you from accountability. Learn to spot it early. When you hear yourself saying that now is not the time, or that conditions are not perfect, or that you need more information, or that tomorrow will be easier, pause and ask whether you are being careful or merely avoiding pain. Honest self-inquiry can save years. A powerful habit is to do the first hard thing early in the day. The mind weakens when it is allowed to avoid the difficult task for too long. Once you complete the thing you have been resisting, your entire day changes. Your confidence rises because your actions now match your values. You no longer carry the weight of unfinished courage. This is practical and simple. Start with one uncomfortable task before anything else distracts you. That may mean writing a page before checking your phone. It may mean exercising before breakfast. It may mean making the call before talking yourself out of it. The earlier you act, the less space fear has to grow. Remember that bold action is not the same as impulsive action. You do not need to be reckless to be brave. You need to be deliberate. Courage with direction is powerful. Foolishness with energy is not. Think carefully. Act firmly. Move with intention. The goal is not to chase intensity. The goal is to build a life that can stand under pressure. There is another truth that many people avoid. You become what you repeatedly practice. If you repeatedly practice avoidance, you become a person who backs away from challenge. If you repeatedly practice courage, you become a person who can meet challenge with strength. Identity is shaped by repetition. Every day you vote for the person you are becoming. Every choice has weight. Every action teaches your mind what kind of person you are. This is why the smallest choices matter. They are never just small. They are training. You can begin today with a simple list of acts that are uncomfortable but good for you. Speak honestly in one conversation. Finish one task you have delayed. Exercise even when you do not feel inspired. Study without interruption for a set period. Clean the space around you and create order. Reach out to someone who deserves your respect. Say no to one habit that weakens you. Do the thing that has been sitting in the background of your mind. Do not wait until you feel fully ready. Action creates readiness. As you push yourself beyond what feels easy, you will discover something important. Your limits are often more flexible than you thought. Some limits are real and should be respected. You are not expected to control everything. But many of the limits that rule people are mental. They are built from repeated fear and repeated avoidance. Those limits can be broken, not all at once, not by force alone, but by patient and deliberate effort. Each day you stretch a little farther. Each day you remain in the discomfort a little longer. Each day you prove to yourself that you can do more than your old habits claimed. There will be resistance. Expect it. The body prefers ease. The mind prefers comfort. Even your emotions may resist what your future needs. Do not be surprised when the old self argues. That old self is trying to survive. It knows that change threatens its control. But you are not required to live as the prisoner of old patterns. You can listen without obeying. You can feel fear and still move. You can feel tired and still begin. You can feel uncertain and still choose the right path. The person who changes their life is not the one who never feels doubt. It is the one who refuses to let doubt lead. That is the difference. Doubt may speak. Fear may speak. Laziness may speak, but they do not get the final word. Your values get the final word. Your discipline gets the final word. Your future gets the final word. Every day ask yourself a simple question. What is one thing I can do today that my comfortable self would avoid? Then do that thing. Do not search for a grand answer every time. Some days the answer will be small and simple. Some days it will be significant. What matters is that you keep choosing growth over ease. That habit will slowly reshape your character. Your confidence will become real because it will be based on evidence. Your self-respect will deepen because you will know you do not break your own promises. Your life will begin to feel less like a reaction and more like a deliberate creation. Pain will still appear. Difficulty will still appear. Rejection will still appear. Failure will still appear. But they will no longer have the power to define you. They will become events instead of identities. A setback will be a lesson. A hard day will be a test. A mistake will be information. A difficult season will be a training ground. This is how resilience is formed. Not by pretending life is easy. By learning how to stand upright when it is not. If you want a stronger life, then stop asking for a softer path. Ask for greater strength. Ask for more patience. Ask for cleaner habits. Ask for a better response to pressure. Ask for the ability to act with integrity even when nobody is watching. Ask for the wisdom to do what is right even when it is inconvenient. These are the qualities that carry a person far. They do not depend on mood. They depend on character. You do not need to wait for a future version of yourself to begin. Begin as you are. Begin with the mind you have now and the body you have now and the circumstances you have now. Improvement happens in real time. It happens when you stop worshipping comfort and start respecting effort. It happens when you choose the difficult action that moves you forward. It happens when you are tired and still do the work. It happens when you are afraid and still speak. It happens when you are unsure and still act. There is power in ordinary days. The world changes through ordinary discipline, repeated long enough to matter. A person who makes a habit of bold daily action becomes dangerous to every weakness that once held them back. They become reliable, clear, grounded, hard to distract, hard to discourage, hard to break. This is not because life became easier. It is because they became stronger. So start now, not later, not after you feel more motivated, not after the perfect moment appears. Start with the next action that asks something of you. Make it small if needed. Make it honest. Make it real. Then repeat tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. That is how a life is changed. Not through one emotional speech, not through one sudden burst of desire, through daily boldness, through repeated courage, through a willingness to live beyond the border of comfort. A better life is waiting on the other side of the habits you are ready to leave behind. On that side there is more self-respect, more peace, more power, more discipline, more freedom. It is not given to the passive. It is built by the willing. It is earned by those who keep moving when comfort says stop. It belongs to the person who looks at fear and decides that fear will not decide the future. Choose the hard step. Choose the honest step. Choose the disciplined step. Choose the step that makes you better. That is how you break comfort zones. That is how you grow. That is how you become someone your future can trust. Chapter 20. Build discipline through consistent habits every single day. Discipline is not something a person is born with. It is built slowly through daily decisions that may seem small but carry great weight over time. Many people wait for motivation before they act, yet motivation comes and goes without warning. Discipline stays. Discipline does not depend on mood. It does not wait for perfect conditions. It moves forward quietly, even when energy feels low and progress seems slow. A disciplined life begins with understanding that habits shape identity. Every action repeated daily becomes part of who you are. When you wake up at the same time each morning, you are building reliability. When you complete your tasks even when you feel tired, you are building strength. When you keep your promises to yourself, you are building trust within your own mind. Over time, these habits form a foundation that supports your goals and your growth. Most people underestimate the power of small habits. They look for dramatic change and overlook the steady influence of daily routines. But life rarely changes through sudden transformation. It changes through repetition. A person who reads 10 pages every day may not notice progress in a week, yet after months, knowledge accumulates. A person who exercises for 20 minutes each day may not see immediate results, yet strength grows quietly. Discipline works like this. It rewards patience and consistency. One of the greatest challenges in building discipline is resisting the urge to quit when progress feels slow. The mind often seeks immediate results. When improvement takes time, frustration appears. This is where discipline becomes essential. Discipline reminds you that growth is not always visible at first. It asks you to trust the process and continue your effort even when results are not obvious. This mindset separates those who succeed from those who stop too soon. Creating discipline begins with clarity. You must decide what kind of person you want to become. Without this clarity, habits lose direction. A person who wants to improve their health must decide to prioritize movement and proper rest. A person who wants to grow mentally must decide to dedicate time to learning. A person who wants to become reliable must decide to honor commitments. Once you decide, your habits should reflect that decision. Start by choosing a few habits that truly matter. Avoid overwhelming yourself with too many changes at once. Focus on what will create meaningful improvement. Choose habits that align with your goals and your values. These habits should be simple enough to perform daily yet powerful enough to create progress. Consistency matters more than intensity. A small habit performed every day is stronger than a large effort performed occasionally. Morning routines often set the tone for discipline. The way you begin your day influences your mindset. When you wake up and immediately engage in purposeful activity, you strengthen your control over your time. Instead of drifting through the morning, you move with intention. This could include reading, planning your tasks, exercising, or spending quiet time reflecting. These actions create clarity and prepare you to face the day with focus. Evening routines also play an important role. Discipline does not end when the day becomes busy. Taking time in the evening to review your progress helps you stay accountable. Reflect on what you did well and where you can improve. This reflection does not require harsh judgment. It requires honesty. Honest reflection strengthens awareness, and awareness supports growth. Consistency becomes easier when you reduce friction. Prepare your environment to support your habits. If you want to read more, keep a book nearby. If you want to exercise, set out your clothes ahead of time. If you want to focus on work, remove distractions from your workspace. Small adjustments make discipline easier to maintain. When the path is clear, you are more likely to follow it. Discipline also grows through commitment to simple rules. Decide what you will do even when you do not feel like doing it. These rules should be realistic and firm. For example, commit to working for a set period each day, regardless of mood. Commit to avoiding habits that weaken your focus. Commit to finishing what you start. These rules reduce decision fatigue. When you follow them consistently, discipline becomes natural. There will be moments when your habits are tested. Busy schedules, unexpected challenges, and emotional strain can disrupt routines. During these moments, discipline shows its value. Instead of abandoning your habits completely, maintain a smaller version. If you cannot complete a full workout, do a shorter one. If you cannot study for hours, study for a few minutes. Maintaining continuity keeps your habits alive. This prevents you from slipping into inconsistency. Patience is essential in this process. Discipline is not built overnight. It grows gradually. Some days will feel easier, other days will feel difficult. What matters is persistence. Every day you follow through, you strengthen your ability to stay consistent. Over time, discipline becomes less about forcing yourself and more about honoring the person you are becoming. Another important aspect of discipline is learning to manage distractions. Modern life offers endless interruptions. Notifications, messages, and constant noise can pull you away from your priorities. Discipline requires protecting your attention. Set boundaries for when you focus and when you rest. Create periods of uninterrupted work. When you control your attention, You control your progress. Discipline also strengthens emotional stability. When you build consistent habits, you become less dependent on feelings. You learn to act based on purpose rather than impulse. This creates a sense of calm and confidence. You no longer feel controlled by every shift in mood. Instead, you rely on your routines to guide your actions. Accountability can also support discipline. Share your goals with someone you trust. Track your habits and measure your consistency. Seeing your progress can motivate you to continue. Even small victories matter. They remind you that your efforts are working. This encouragement builds momentum. It is also important to forgive yourself when mistakes happen. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about returning to your habits quickly after a setback. If you miss a day, do not allow that to become a pattern. Resume your routine the next day. This resilience strengthens discipline and prevents discouragement. Over time, discipline transforms your self-image. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through. This shift changes your confidence. You trust your ability to handle challenges. You respect your own effort. This internal change is powerful. It influences every area of your life. Discipline also creates freedom. At first, routines may feel restrictive, but over time, they create structure that reduces stress. You no longer waste energy deciding what to do. Your habits guide you. This clarity frees your mind to focus on meaningful work and personal growth. Another benefit of discipline is resilience. When you face challenges, your habits provide stability. They give you something steady to rely on. Even during difficult periods, your routines keep you moving forward. This steady progress builds strength and confidence. Building discipline also improves your relationships. When you become reliable, others begin to trust you more. They see your consistency and commitment. This trust strengthens connections and creates opportunities. Discipline affects not only your personal growth, but also your influence on others. It is also important to celebrate progress. Recognize the effort you put into maintaining your habits. Acknowledge your consistency. This recognition reinforces positive behavior. It reminds you that your work matters. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, discipline becomes part of your character. You no longer rely on bursts of motivation, you rely on your habits. This consistency creates lasting improvement. It builds confidence, resilience, and clarity. Every day offers a new chance to strengthen discipline. Start small. Stay consistent. Focus on progress rather than perfection. With each action, you reinforce your commitment to growth. Over time, these actions shape your future. Discipline is not loud. It is quiet and steady. It works in the background, building strength day by day. It transforms your life through consistency. It gives you control over your actions and direction over your path. When you commit to consistent habits every single day, you create a life guided by purpose. You become someone who moves forward regardless of circumstances. You develop resilience and confidence. You build a foundation for long-term success. Your future is shaped by what you do repeatedly. Choose habits that support your growth. Follow them daily. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Discipline built through daily habits becomes a powerful force that carries you beyond limitations and into a stronger version of yourself. Chapter 3. Challenge limiting beliefs and replace them with confidence. Many people live inside invisible walls they did not consciously build. These walls are formed by thoughts repeated over time until they begin to feel like facts. A person may believe they are not smart enough to succeed, not talented enough to lead, not confident enough to speak, or not strong enough to endure pressure. These beliefs slowly shape behavior. They influence decisions. They shrink ambition. They reduce effort. Over time, these silent assumptions become barriers that prevent growth long before any real obstacle appears. Limiting beliefs often begin early. A careless comment, a failed attempt, or a moment of embarrassment can plant doubt in the mind. The mind then protects itself by avoiding situations that might create similar discomfort. What starts as protection slowly becomes restriction. A person who once hesitated to speak in a group may begin to avoid leadership roles. A person who struggled with a subject may assume they are incapable of learning complex ideas. A person who experienced rejection may avoid meaningful opportunities. These patterns feel safe, yet they quietly hold back potential. The first step in challenging limiting beliefs is awareness. Many people carry these beliefs without noticing them. They operate automatically, shaping choices without permission. Pay attention to the thoughts that appear when you face a challenge. Notice the quiet voice that says you cannot handle it. Observe the hesitation that arises before taking action. These signals reveal the beliefs that influence your behavior. Awareness turns hidden barriers into visible ones. Once you identify these beliefs, question them. Ask yourself whether they are based on facts or assumptions. Many limiting beliefs are built on past experiences that no longer reflect your present ability. A single failure does not define your capability. A moment of fear does not determine your courage. A past mistake does not set your future. When you question these beliefs, you weaken their control. You begin to see them as thoughts rather than truths. Confidence does not appear suddenly. It grows through evidence created by action. Each time you challenge a belief and take a step forward, you gather proof that you are capable. This proof strengthens your confidence. Over time, your mind begins to trust your ability to handle challenges. Confidence built this way is stable because it is rooted in experience rather than imagination. Consider how confidence develops in any skill. A person learning to speak publicly may feel uncertain at first. Their voice may shake. Their thoughts may feel scattered. With practice, they gain familiarity. They learn to manage nerves. They become more comfortable expressing ideas. Eventually, confidence grows naturally. The same process applies to personal growth. Confidence emerges when you repeatedly challenge what you once believed was impossible. Replacing limiting beliefs requires patience. These beliefs may have formed over years. Changing them takes consistent effort. Begin with small challenges. If you believe you are not capable of leading, start by taking responsibility for a small task. If you believe you cannot handle pressure, begin with manageable challenges that stretch your comfort. Each success creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Language also plays a role in shaping beliefs. The words you use influence your mindset. Replace statements that limit you with statements that encourage growth. Instead of saying you cannot do something, acknowledge that you are learning. Instead of labeling yourself with weakness, describe your progress. This shift in language changes how you see yourself. It encourages effort rather than resignation. Another powerful strategy is to separate identity from performance. A mistake does not define who you are. It reflects a moment in time. When you separate identity from performance, you reduce fear. You become more willing to try new things. You understand that failure is part of growth rather than a permanent label. This perspective supports confidence because it removes the pressure of perfection. Limiting beliefs often thrive in comparison. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you may underestimate your own potential. Every person moves at a different pace. Each individual has unique strengths and challenges. Focus on your own growth. Measure progress against your past self. This approach creates clarity and reduces unnecessary doubt. Confidence also grows through preparation. When you prepare carefully, you reduce uncertainty. Preparation strengthens your ability to handle challenges. Whether you are learning a new skill, starting a project, or facing a difficult conversation, preparation provides stability. It transforms fear into focus. This process builds confidence step by step. Your environment influences your beliefs. Surround yourself with ideas and people that encourage growth. Exposure to positive examples can reshape your mindset. Seeing others overcome challenges reminds you that progress is possible. This influence strengthens belief in your own potential. Another important factor is resilience. Limiting beliefs often return when you face setbacks. A difficult moment may trigger old doubts. During these times, remain steady. Remind yourself that setbacks are temporary. Reflect on your progress. Continue taking action. Resilience reinforces confidence by showing that you can recover and move forward. Confidence is also strengthened by self-respect. When you honor your commitments, you build trust within yourself. This trust becomes a foundation for confidence. You begin to rely on your ability to follow through. This internal stability supports growth. Take time to recognize your achievements. Reflect on moments when you overcame doubt. These reflections reinforce your belief in your capability. They remind you that you have already faced challenges and grown stronger. This awareness encourages further progress. Limiting beliefs often shrink when you expand your experiences, try new activities, learn new skills, engage in unfamiliar situations. Each new experience broadens your perspective. It shows you that your abilities extend beyond your assumptions. This process strengthens confidence naturally. Another useful approach is visualization. Imagine yourself handling challenges with calm and clarity. Picture yourself succeeding through effort. This mental practice prepares your mind for action. It reduces hesitation and builds confidence. It is also important to accept discomfort. Growth often requires stepping into unfamiliar territory. Discomfort does not signal danger. It signals learning. When you accept discomfort, you become more willing to challenge limiting beliefs. This willingness accelerates progress. Confidence also benefits from patience. Growth takes time. Avoid rushing the process. Focus on steady improvement. Each step forward strengthens belief in your ability. Over time, confidence becomes a natural part of your character. Another key element is self-discipline. Consistent effort reinforces belief in your capability. When you maintain discipline, you prove that you can handle challenges. This proof strengthens confidence. Your mindset shapes your future. When you challenge limiting beliefs, you open new possibilities. You become more willing to pursue goals. You take action with greater clarity. This transformation creates opportunities for growth. Confidence does not mean absence of doubt. Doubt may still appear. Confidence means acting despite uncertainty. It means trusting your ability to adapt and learn. This mindset supports resilience and progress. Over time, your beliefs shape your identity. When you replace limiting beliefs with confidence, you become more capable. You approach challenges with determination. You embrace learning. You build a life guided by growth. Each day presents opportunities to challenge your beliefs. Notice your thoughts. Question limitations. Take action. Reflect on progress. These steps create lasting change. Confidence built through experience becomes stable. It supports your goals. It strengthens your resilience. It shapes your decisions. This transformation influences every area of your life. Your potential expands when you challenge limitations. You become more willing to try. You learn from mistakes. You grow through effort. This process creates meaningful progress. Commit to this journey with patience and determination. Replace doubt with action. Replace fear with learning. Replace limitation with growth. Over time, your confidence will deepen. Your perspective will expand. Your life will reflect the strength you have built within yourself. Challenge your beliefs daily. Replace them with confidence built through action. This commitment will guide you toward a stronger and more capable version of yourself. Chapter 40. Set clear goals and pursue them with urgency. A life without clear goals becomes scattered very quickly. Days pass, weeks pass. A person stays busy yet moves nowhere meaningful. Energy gets spent on small problems while the main purpose stays untouched. This is how many people lose years. Not because they had no ability, but because they had no clear direction. A goal gives shape to effort. It turns vague hope into focused movement. It tells the mind where to go and tells the body what to do. Clear goals matter because attention is limited. Every day asks for your time, your focus, and your decisions. If you do not choose your destination, outside noise will choose it for you. Other people will fill your schedule. Random emotions will steer your effort. Easy distractions will pull your mind apart. A clear goal acts like a steady hand. It keeps you from drifting. It gives your actions a reason. It makes sacrifice easier because you know what it is for. Many people confuse desire with direction. They want success. They want health. They want respect. They want peace. They want more money. They want better habits. But wanting is not enough. A wish without a plan stays weak. A goal must be specific enough that your next move becomes obvious. Instead of saying you want to be better, decide what better means. Instead of saying you want more progress, define the result you are working toward. When a goal becomes clear, your energy stops leaking into uncertainty. Urgency gives a goal life. Without urgency, even good goals become delayed dreams. A person can know exactly what they want and still do nothing for months because they believe there will always be more time. That belief is dangerous. Time does not sit still. It does not wait for your mood to improve. It does not pause for your confidence to rise. It keeps moving. Urgency is the awareness that this moment matters. Not in a frantic way, not in a panicked way, in a disciplined and honest way. Today is part of your future. What you do with it shapes what comes next. A clear goal should be simple enough to remember and strong enough to move you. Write it down. Read it often. Keep it where you can see it. Speak it to yourself until it becomes familiar. The mind supports what it can clearly picture. When a goal stays hidden in the background, it loses power. When it is visible, it starts guiding daily choices. This is practical and useful. You do not need complicated systems before you begin. You need clarity and commitment. Once the goal is clear, break it into smaller actions. A large goal can feel heavy when viewed all at once. That heaviness causes delay. But the same goal becomes manageable when divided into steps. If you want to improve your body, then identify the first habits that support that result. If you want to build a business, then identify the actions that create progress today. If you want to become more educated, then decide what you will read, study, or practice this week. Small steps done consistently carry more power than grand intentions left untouched. Urgency does not mean rushing blindly. It means acting while the goal is still alive in your mind. Delay weakens resolve. Every time you put off a meaningful action, the brain learns to treat the goal as optional. This is why early action matters. Act before hesitation grows. Move before excuses gain strength. The first step is often the hardest because it breaks the pattern of delay. Once you begin, the rest becomes easier. A focused person protects their goal from noise. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every request deserves your yes. Not every conversation deserves your time. Not every entertainment deserves your hours. If your goal is important, then your calendar should reflect that importance. Your habits should reflect that importance. Your daily choices should reflect that importance. A goal becomes real when it shapes what you allow into your life. One reason urgency fades is that people wait for perfect conditions. They wait for more money, more knowledge, more energy, more support, more confidence, more timing. But perfect conditions rarely appear. Life moves with uncertainty. Progress belongs to those who work through imperfection. Start where you are. Use what you have. Improve while moving. That approach may feel less glamorous, but it is far more powerful. Real growth usually begins in imperfect circumstances. A goal also requires honest measurement. Check your progress regularly. Ask whether your current actions are moving you closer to the result you want. This is not about judging yourself harshly. It is about staying awake. A person who never checks direction may walk hard and still arrive nowhere useful. Review your habits. Review your results. Adjust when needed. Clear goals become stronger when they are paired with honest reflection. Urgency becomes easier when you connect your goal to your values. Ask why it matters. Ask what kind of person you become by pursuing it. Ask what pain you avoid by acting now instead of later. When your goal is tied to deeper values, it stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a responsibility. That sense of responsibility strengthens discipline. It makes your effort steadier. It gives you reason to continue when excitement fades. There is also value in being selective. Not every goal deserves equal focus. Trying to chase too many things at once scatters your power. A disciplined life requires priorities. Choose the few goals that matter most. Give them your best attention. Progress becomes much faster when your effort is concentrated. A clear goal demands focus. Focus demands sacrifice. Sacrifice demands maturity. This is how strong lives are built. You will not always feel urgent. Some mornings will feel heavy. Some days will test your resolve. In those moments, do not wait for emotion to carry you. Return to the goal. Return to the reason. Return to the next practical action. Discipline does not depend on excitement. It depends on ownership. When you own your future, you stop being ruled by temporary feelings. The most effective people are often not the most talented. They are the most directed. They know what they want, and they move toward it with steady pressure. They do not waste long periods deciding what matters. They decide, and then they work. That is the difference urgency makes. It saves time. It reduces confusion. It creates momentum. Momentum turns effort into progress, and progress into confidence. A clear goal also helps you endure setbacks. When obstacles appear, you are less likely to quit because you know what you are working toward. A setback becomes information instead of defeat. A delay becomes a challenge instead of a reason to stop. This is one of the deepest benefits of clear purpose. It gives the mind something larger than discomfort to focus on. The goal becomes a north point that keeps you from losing your way. Every day ask yourself 3 questions. What matters most right now? What action moves me forward today? What can I remove that is slowing me down? These questions keep your mind sharp. They cut through noise. They remind you that urgency is not about constant stress. It is about wise movement. It is about refusing to waste the gift of time. Clear goals also protect your identity. When your future is defined by meaningful direction, you are less likely to settle for less than you are capable of becoming. Goals shape standards. Standards shape habits. Habits shape character. Character shapes destiny. The chain begins with a decision. A serious decision changes the way you live. Do not wait for a crisis to wake you up. Do not wait for regret to make you serious. Do not wait for life to become painful before you begin to care. A disciplined person learns to value time before time is stolen from them. That awareness is powerful. It creates urgency without panic. It creates movement without chaos. It creates a sense of duty toward your own life. Set your goal today with full honesty. Make it specific. Make it meaningful. Make it visible. Then act on it immediately. Not tomorrow. Not after more planning. Not after one more excuse. Begin now with a step that proves you are serious. A goal only matters when it changes behavior. A goal only becomes real when it is pursued. You do not need a perfect plan to begin. You need a clear direction and the courage to move with urgency. Every day you delay is a day your future waits. Every day you act is a day your future grows stronger. Choose the life that rewards action. Choose the path that respects time. Choose the goal that calls for your best effort. Then pursue it with steady urgency until your actions become the proof of your commitment. Chapter 5D: Strengthen mental toughness during discomfort and uncertainty. Mental toughness is revealed when life becomes uncomfortable and uncertain. Anyone can stay calm when the day is easy and the path is clear. Real strength appears when plans break, pressure rises, answers disappear, and the mind begins to look for escape. In those moments, many people panic, delay, complain, or give up too soon. A stronger person does something different. They stay present. They breathe. They think carefully. They keep moving even when the ground beneath them feels unstable. Uncertainty is part of life. No one gets full control. No one gets complete information. No one gets a promise that every choice will be rewarded immediately. This is why mental toughness matters so deeply. It helps you stay steady when life refuses to explain itself. It teaches you to act with discipline, even when you cannot see the full result. It helps you remain useful when emotions are loud and circumstances are unclear. Discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong. Often it is simply the cost of progress. Growth asks for effort. Effort asks for patience. Patience asks for restraint. Restraint is not easy when you want comfort right away. Yet every meaningful improvement in life demands some degree of discomfort. The body resists change. The mind resists uncertainty. The ego resists being challenged. Mental toughness gives you the ability to continue anyway. One of the most important skills in difficult times is learning not to exaggerate the moment. When something feels hard, the mind often turns it into something bigger than it is. A setback becomes a disaster. A delay becomes failure. A hard conversation becomes unbearable before it begins. This kind of thinking weakens you before the situation even finishes. A disciplined mind does not deny difficulty, but it also does not make it larger than reality. It says, "This is hard, but I can handle this one step at a time." Mental toughness begins with self-control. You do not control everything around you, but you do control how you respond. That freedom is powerful. You can choose your next action. You can choose your words. You can choose your attitude. You can choose whether to surrender to panic or remain grounded. This does not mean emotions disappear. It means emotions do not get to lead the whole life. A tough mind feels pressure without becoming ruled by it. When discomfort arrives, many people rush to avoid it. They scroll through their phones, distract themselves, complain to others, or numb themselves with habits that weaken them further. These reactions may bring temporary relief, but they do not build strength. They train weakness. A stronger response is to stay with the discomfort long enough to learn from it. Ask what the moment is asking of you. Ask what this difficulty is teaching. Ask what part of your character is being tested. Such questions turn pressure into instruction. There is great value in slowing down during uncertainty. Panic makes people react too quickly. Calmness creates space for wisdom. When you face a difficult situation, pause before you decide. Take a deep breath. Focus on what is real. Separate facts from fear. Write down what you know and what you do not know. This simple habit can prevent many poor decisions. A clear mind is easier to trust than a frightened one. A mentally tough person does not wait to feel strong before acting. They act in a way that creates strength. This is an important distinction. Strength often follows action rather than preceding it. When you do the difficult thing while afraid, you teach your mind that fear is not a stop sign. You teach yourself that discomfort can be carried. Each such moment adds another layer to your resilience. Over time, that becomes part of your identity. Uncertainty can reveal hidden weakness, but it can also reveal hidden power. Some people discover patience only when life delays them. Some discover courage only when they are forced to speak honestly. Some discover discipline only when they must keep going without applause. Some discover inner stability only when everything external becomes unstable. Do not waste these moments. They are difficult, but they are also valuable. They show you where you need to grow. Mental toughness also requires refusing to make every challenge personal. Not every hard moment means you are failing. Not every closed door means you are unwanted. Not every mistake means you are incapable. Life includes setbacks for everyone. The difference is in how people interpret them. A weak interpretation destroys motivation. A strong interpretation creates learning. Instead of asking why this happened to me in a defeated way, ask what I can learn from this and how I can respond better next time. One of the most practical ways to strengthen your mind is to keep your routines during hard times. When life feels uncertain, structure becomes a source of stability. Wake up at a reasonable time. Keep your work habits. Move your body. Eat with care. Stay organized. Continue doing the small things that support your well-being. These ordinary actions may seem minor, but they protect you from chaos. They remind you that your life still has order even when events feel unpredictable. Another powerful habit is choosing short and clear goals for difficult days. When your mind is burdened, big plans can feel overwhelming. Reduce the pressure. Focus on the next task. Finish one part. Answer one message. Complete one page. Take one walk. Do one honest thing. Progress in uncertainty often comes from a series of small completions. This keeps your mind engaged instead of overwhelmed. It also creates momentum when confidence feels low. Mental toughness grows when you stop arguing with reality. Some people waste enormous energy wishing things were different. They resent delays. They resent problems. They resent the fact that life is not smooth. This resistance drains strength. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance means seeing the situation clearly before acting. When you accept what is true, you stop fighting the facts and start working with them. That calm realism is one of the marks of strong character. You can also build toughness by training yourself to remain uncomfortable a little longer than you prefer. Stay focused for an extra few minutes. Hold your position when a task becomes tedious. Continue when the easy urge says stop. Finish the conversation instead of escaping. Do not confuse comfort with health. Many things that feel comfortable in the moment weaken you in the long run. Mental strength is built when you learn to choose what helps your future over what flatters your present mood. There will be days when uncertainty affects your confidence. On those days, do not demand certainty before you act. Certainty is often a reward for movement. You gain clearer understanding after taking steps, not before. If you wait until every risk disappears, you may wait forever. The brave person moves with the information available and corrects the path as needed. They do not need perfect conditions to begin. Hard seasons also teach humility. They remind you that human strength is limited and that control is never complete. This is not weakness. It is truth. Accepting your limits can make you wiser. It prevents arrogance. It keeps you teachable. A person who knows they cannot control everything becomes less frantic and more grounded. They learn to focus on effort, not outcomes. They do what is right and allow time to reveal the result. When discomfort and uncertainty stay for a while, protect your inner dialogue. The words you speak to yourself matter. Do not feed yourself fear in moments that already feel heavy. Speak with honesty, but also with strength. Tell yourself that this is difficult and that you can handle the next step. Remind yourself that pressure is temporary. Remind yourself that character grows in conditions like these. A disciplined inner voice can keep you from collapsing emotionally when life becomes demanding. It helps to remember that hard times do not last forever, but the character formed in hard times can last a lifetime. The question is not whether discomfort will visit you. It will. The question is whether it will weaken you or strengthen you. That choice is influenced by your response. If you keep avoiding discomfort, it will remain powerful. If you face it with discipline, it will gradually lose its grip. Every challenge offers a chance to become more resilient. Every uncertain season offers a chance to become more steady. Every uncomfortable moment offers a chance to become more mature. You do not have to love difficulty. You only need to meet it with courage and self-respect. That is enough to change your life over time. Mental toughness is built through repeated practice. The more often you stay calm in pressure, the more natural calmness becomes. The more often you continue through uncertainty, the more dependable you become. The more often you choose steady action over fear, the less control fear has over you. This process is quiet at first, but it grows strong with repetition. A tough mind does not make life easy. It makes you capable. It gives you the power to remain useful when life is not easy. That is a great advantage. It means you can keep your dignity when plans fail. You can keep your direction when answers are delayed. You can keep your standards when motivation disappears. You can keep your balance when other people lose theirs. Hold yourself to that standard. When discomfort comes, do not rush away from it. When uncertainty appears, do not surrender to confusion. Stay grounded, stay honest, stay active. Take care of what is in front of you. Trust that strength grows through use. Trust that your mind becomes sharper when it is tested. Trust that your future self will thank you for every hard moment you chose to endure with discipline. That is how mental toughness is formed. Not by pretending life is soft, but by learning to stand firm when life is not. Chapter 6e. Wake early and start days with focused intention. The way you begin your morning quietly shapes the direction of your entire day. Many people underestimate the power of the early hours. They wake up late, rush through the morning, and react to whatever demands their attention first. This pattern creates a sense of pressure before the day even begins. The mind becomes scattered. The body feels hurried. Decisions become reactive rather than intentional. Over time, this approach weakens focus and reduces control over life. Waking early creates space. That space gives you time to think before noise fills your mind. It allows you to prepare instead of rushing. It gives you the chance to guide your day rather than chase it. Early mornings offer calmness that is difficult to find later. Fewer distractions exist. Fewer demands compete for attention. In that quiet time, your thoughts become clearer and your priorities easier to identify. Waking early is not about punishment or rigid discipline. It is about creating an advantage. The early hours belong to those who claim them. When you wake before the rush, you gain time to invest in yourself. You can reflect, learn, plan, and move forward before external pressures arrive. This habit builds confidence because you start your day with purpose rather than confusion. The first moments after waking carry great importance. Many people reach for their phones immediately. They flood their minds with messages, news, and distractions before their thoughts have even settled. This habit weakens clarity. Instead, give yourself a few minutes of stillness. Sit quietly, breathe slowly. Allow your mind to wake gently. This small practice strengthens awareness and reduces stress. Once you are fully awake, move your body. Physical movement in the morning helps energize your mind. It does not need to be intense. A simple walk, stretching, or light exercise can prepare your body for the day. Movement increases alertness and improves mood. It signals to your mind that the day has begun with intention. After movement, take time to define your focus. Ask yourself what truly matters today. Identify a few priorities that deserve your energy. This step prevents your day from becoming scattered. When you know your priorities, you make better decisions. You become less likely to waste time on unimportant tasks. This clarity creates calmness because you know what you are working toward. Writing your priorities can strengthen this process. Put them on paper or in a journal. Seeing them written makes them more real. It also provides a reference when distractions appear. When you feel uncertain, return to your list. This habit keeps your attention aligned with your goals. Morning reflection also helps strengthen intention. Spend a few minutes thinking about your values. Consider how you want to show up today. Think about patience, discipline, honesty, and focus. This reflection shapes your behavior. It prepares your mind to act with purpose instead of impulse. Some people find value in reading during early hours. A few pages of meaningful content can guide your mindset. It introduces thoughtful ideas before noise enters your day. Reading early also builds consistency in learning. Over time, this habit strengthens your understanding and awareness. Another useful practice is planning your schedule. Look at your commitments and decide how to approach them. Break large tasks into smaller actions. Allocate time for focused work. Planning in the morning reduces confusion later. It also gives you confidence because you know how to move forward. Waking early also provides time for quiet thought. This quiet time allows you to process challenges calmly. You can think about problems without pressure. You can consider solutions without distraction. This thoughtful approach leads to better decisions. Consistency matters in building this habit. Waking early once or twice will not create lasting change. Choose a realistic time and follow it daily. Your body will adjust over time. Avoid dramatic changes that disrupt your routine. Gradual adjustments make the process smoother. Evening preparation supports early mornings. Go to bed at a reasonable hour. Reduce screen time before sleep. Create a calm environment. Good rest makes waking early easier. This connection between evening and morning strengthens discipline. Some mornings will feel difficult. Your mind may suggest staying in bed. During these moments, remember your purpose. Stand up anyway. Once you begin moving, resistance often fades. The hardest part is leaving the comfort of sleep. After that, energy builds naturally. Early mornings also provide time for self-improvement. You can develop skills, practice creativity, or review goals. This personal investment compounds over time. Small efforts each morning lead to meaningful progress. Another advantage of waking early is emotional stability. Rushed mornings often create stress. Calm mornings create balance. When you begin your day with clarity, you handle challenges more effectively. You respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Focused mornings also improve productivity. When you start with meaningful tasks, momentum builds. Completing early priorities gives you confidence. This confidence carries through the rest of the day. It is important to avoid filling your mornings with unnecessary tasks. Keep your routine simple. Choose a few actions that truly matter. This simplicity prevents overwhelm and strengthens consistency. Morning intention also influences your attitude. Decide to approach the day with patience and discipline. This decision shapes your responses. When challenges appear, you remember your intention and act accordingly. Waking early is not about comparing yourself to others. It is about creating a routine that supports your growth. Some people may wake earlier than you. That does not matter. What matters is consistency and purpose. As you continue this habit, you may notice increased clarity. Your thoughts become more organized. Your actions become more deliberate. Your day feels less chaotic. These changes reflect the power of focused mornings. Early rising also builds self-trust. When you follow through on your commitment, you strengthen confidence. You prove to yourself that you can maintain discipline. This trust influences other areas of life. Over time, waking early becomes natural. You no longer struggle to leave bed. Your body adapts to the rhythm. Your mind begins to expect purposeful mornings. The quiet hours before the world becomes busy offer a chance to center yourself. Use that time wisely. Reflect, move, plan, and act. These actions shape your day and your future. Every morning is a new beginning. It offers an opportunity to reset and refocus. By waking early and starting with intention, you create structure and clarity. You take ownership of your time. You guide your life with discipline. Commit to this habit with patience. Progress may be gradual, but the impact is lasting. Focused mornings lead to purposeful days. Purposeful days lead to meaningful progress. When you wake early and move with intention, you set the tone for everything that follows. You become less reactive and more deliberate. You gain control over your direction. This simple habit has the power to transform your mindset and strengthen your growth. Chapter 70. Track progress and celebrate small, meaningful improvements. Progress becomes easier to trust when you can see it. Many people work hard for days or even months and still feel as if nothing is changing. That feeling is often the result of not paying attention to small gains. Growth is not always loud. It does not always arrive with a dramatic moment. More often, it appears in quiet signs that are easy to miss if you are not looking carefully. You handle a task with less resistance. You recover faster after a mistake. You finish sooner than before. You keep your promise when you once would have broken it. These are not minor details. They are evidence that your life is moving forward. Tracking progress matters because the mind needs proof. When people cannot see improvement, they become discouraged. They begin to question their effort. They may even quit too early. But when you record what you are doing and notice what is changing, you create a clear picture of movement. That picture builds patience. It reminds you that effort is working even when results are still forming. Without that awareness, a person can feel stuck while actually growing. A lot of people confuse speed with progress. They believe growth must be obvious or it does not count. That idea is harmful. Real improvement is often gradual. It may be hidden inside habits that are becoming stronger and reactions that are becoming calmer. A person who once struggled to stay focused for 10 minutes may now work for 20. A person who used to ignore their goals may now check them every day. A person who once gave up easily may now return after setbacks. These changes may seem small, but over time they become powerful. The act of tracking is simple, yet it changes the way you think. When you write down what you have done, you stop relying on memory alone. Memory can be unfair. It often highlights what went wrong and forgets what went right. A written record is more honest. It shows effort in a way the mind can respect. It gives you something real to review. That review can strengthen your commitment because you are no longer guessing about your progress. You can see it. Track what matters. Do not turn your life into a pile of numbers that mean nothing to your growth. Choose the habits, actions, and results that truly reflect your purpose. If you are building discipline, track whether you did the work you promised. If you are improving your health, track the behaviors that support that goal. If you are learning, track the time spent learning and the knowledge applied. Keep the process direct. Clear tracking helps you stay honest without becoming overwhelmed. A simple method often works best. At the end of each day, ask what you did well, what you improved, and what needs attention. This short reflection creates awareness without pressure. It helps you close the day with clarity instead of confusion. You do not need to judge yourself harshly. You need to observe your actions carefully. Honest observation is a powerful form of self-respect. It says that your growth matters enough to examine with care. Celebrating small, meaningful improvements is equally important. Too many people wait for a major result before they allow themselves to feel encouraged. That habit can make the journey feel exhausting. You may be doing the right things for weeks and still feel empty because you are only looking for large outcomes. Small improvements deserve recognition because they are the building blocks of large results. The person who learns to value small wins becomes more resilient and more consistent. Celebrate in a way that supports your progress, not in a way that weakens it. The goal is not to reward yourself with anything that pulls you backward. The goal is to acknowledge effort and keep moving. A quiet moment of gratitude can be enough. A written note can be enough. A simple pause to say, "I did better today," can be enough. This kind of celebration strengthens the mind without creating dependence on external praise. When you celebrate small improvements, you train yourself to notice what is working. That habit is powerful because the mind naturally pays more attention to problems than to progress. Problems demand attention loudly. Progress often whispers. If you do not intentionally recognize growth, you may overlook the very evidence that could encourage you. Celebrating small gains helps balance that tendency. It keeps you grounded in reality rather than trapped in self-criticism. Small improvements also build momentum. Momentum is one of the strongest forces in personal growth. It makes the next step easier. It reduces resistance. It gives you confidence through repetition. A person who sees progress is more likely to continue. A person who continues is more likely to improve further. This cycle creates steady advancement. Tracking helps you see the cycle. Celebration helps you sustain it. There is wisdom in measuring progress honestly, but not obsessing over it. Some people become so focused on tracking that they forget to live. Others refuse to track anything and drift without awareness. The balanced path is best. Keep enough record to stay awake to your growth, but do not turn every day into a test. Progress needs room to breathe. It needs patience. It needs a calm mind that can notice change without forcing it. One reason people fail to appreciate small improvement is that they compare their current self to an ideal version they have not yet reached. That comparison can be discouraging. It makes the present look small. A better approach is to compare yourself to who you were before. Are you more disciplined than you were last month? Do you react with more patience? Do you recover faster from mistakes? Do you stay focused longer? Are your habits more reliable? These are the real questions. Growth becomes easier to recognize when you compare honestly. Tracking progress also strengthens responsibility. When your actions are recorded, your choices become clearer. You cannot pretend you worked when you did not. You cannot tell yourself you improved when you ignored the habit entirely. That honesty can be uncomfortable, but it is useful. It removes confusion. It shows where effort is missing. It reveals patterns that need correction. Responsibility grows stronger when truth is visible. A good record does more than measure failure. It also protects your confidence. On difficult days, the mind may tell you that you are not changing at all. A record can answer that lie. It can show that you have already done hard things. It can show that you have kept going longer than you thought. It can show that you are stronger than your feelings suggest. This is one reason progress tracking is so valuable. It helps truth speak louder than mood. To make tracking effective, keep it regular and simple. Use a notebook. Use a calendar. Use a basic list. The tool matters less than the habit. The purpose is not to create a perfect system. The purpose is to create awareness. When your awareness improves, your choices improve. When your choices improve, your life improves. Celebrate the kind of progress that no one else sees. A calmer response to stress. A quicker return after disappointment. A full hour of focus. A completed task without delay. A harder conversation handled with maturity. These moments shape your character. They may not impress a crowd, but they build the person you are becoming. That is the deeper reward. You are not only chasing external success, you are forming inner strength. It also helps to celebrate effort, not only outcomes. Sometimes the result has not arrived yet, but the effort was still honorable. You showed up. You tried again. You stayed committed. That deserves recognition. If you only reward visible results, you may overlook the courage it took to keep going. Effort matters because effort is what produces future results. Respecting effort keeps your motivation alive during long seasons of waiting. Tracking progress gives structure to improvement. It transforms vague hope into visible movement. It helps you see that your life is not standing still. Even when the changes are small, they matter. A little more discipline each day becomes a stronger character over time. A little more focus becomes greater productivity. A little more honesty becomes deeper self-trust. A little more patience becomes emotional stability. The small things are not small when repeated. As you continue this practice, you will likely notice that your self-image changes. You begin to see yourself as someone who improves on purpose. That identity is powerful. It creates confidence that is based on evidence, not fantasy. You know what you are doing. You know what you are building. You know that progress is happening because you are paying attention to it. There is dignity in steady improvement. There is strength in noticing it. There is wisdom in valuing it. Life becomes less frustrating when you can see your own growth with clarity. You stop demanding instant transformation. You learn to respect the process. You become more patient with yourself because you understand how change actually works. Track your progress with honesty. Celebrate your small, meaningful improvements with gratitude. Let each sign of growth remind you that effort is never wasted. Keep a record of your becoming. Protect your attention from the habit of overlooking what is good. Stay alert to the quiet evidence that you are moving forward. In time, these small improvements will reveal a stronger and more disciplined version of you. Chapter 80. Face fears directly and grow stronger every time. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that shapes human behavior. It influences decisions quietly and often without permission. Many people do not even realize how often fear guides their actions. It shows up as hesitation before trying something new. It appears as silence when speaking honestly would be better. It hides behind excuses that sound reasonable but prevent growth. Over time, fear can shrink your world if you allow it to lead your choices. Fear itself is not the enemy. It is a natural response designed to protect you from danger. The problem begins when fear starts controlling areas of life that require courage. When fear stops you from improving, speaking, learning, or trying, it becomes a barrier instead of protection. A strong life requires learning how to face fear directly instead of constantly avoiding it. Avoidance may feel comfortable in the moment, but it strengthens fear over time. When you step away from something that frightens you, your mind learns that avoidance is the safest path. This pattern becomes stronger with repetition. Eventually, fear grows larger, and your confidence shrinks. What once felt manageable begins to feel overwhelming. This is how fear gains control. Facing fear weakens its influence. Each time you confront something that makes you uncomfortable, you prove to yourself that you can handle difficulty. The mind begins to understand that fear does not always signal danger. It often signals growth. This shift in understanding builds courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. Fear appears in many forms. Some fears are obvious, such as fear of failure or fear of rejection. Others are subtle, such as fear of responsibility or fear of change. These fears often hide behind hesitation. You may delay starting a project because you worry about the outcome. You may avoid speaking up because you fear criticism. You may resist new opportunities because you fear uncertainty. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward growth. Facing fear does not require dramatic actions. It begins with small, deliberate steps. If you fear speaking in meetings, start by sharing one idea. If you fear trying something new, take the first step without demanding perfection. If you fear rejection, reach out anyway. Each small action builds confidence. Over time, these actions create momentum. Your body may react strongly when you face fear. Your heart may race. Your thoughts may become uncertain. These reactions are natural. They do not mean you should stop. Instead, breathe slowly and focus on the present moment. Calm breathing helps your mind stay clear. This allows you to act with intention rather than panic. Another useful approach is to prepare carefully. Preparation reduces uncertainty. If you fear a difficult conversation, think about what you want to say. If you fear a new task, gather information and plan your steps. Preparation does not remove fear completely, but it gives you stability. This stability makes it easier to move forward. Fear often exaggerates consequences. The mind imagines worst outcomes and treats them as certain. This creates unnecessary stress. A disciplined approach is to evaluate realistically. Ask yourself what is likely to happen. Consider how you would respond if things do not go as planned. This practical thinking reduces anxiety and builds confidence. Facing fear also teaches resilience. Even if the outcome is not perfect, you gain experience. You learn what works and what needs improvement. This knowledge strengthens your ability to handle future challenges. Each attempt becomes a lesson. This process builds strength gradually. Growth requires accepting discomfort. Fear often appears when you step outside familiar territory. Instead of retreating, remain steady. Stay present. Take one step at a time. Over time, what once felt intimidating becomes manageable. This transformation builds inner strength. Confidence grows through repeated exposure to fear. The first attempt may feel difficult. The second attempt becomes slightly easier. With practice, fear loses intensity. Eventually, you develop calmness in situations that once caused stress. This progression reflects the power of facing fear directly. Fear also provides valuable information. It highlights areas where growth is needed. If you fear public speaking, it may signal the importance of communication skills. If you fear taking responsibility, it may signal an opportunity for leadership. Viewing fear as guidance rather than an obstacle changes your perspective. It is important to avoid harsh self-judgment during this process. Growth takes time. Some attempts may not go as planned. That is part of learning. Treat each experience as feedback. Adjust your approach and try again. Patience supports courage. Another helpful practice is visualizing success. Imagine yourself handling the situation calmly. Picture yourself responding with clarity. This mental rehearsal prepares your mind for action. It reduces hesitation and builds confidence. Facing fear also strengthens independence. When you rely on your ability to confront challenges, you become less dependent on external approval. You trust your judgment. This trust improves decision-making and builds confidence. Your environment can also influence fear. Surround yourself with supportive people who encourage growth. Positive encouragement can strengthen courage. Observing others face challenges can inspire you to do the same. Fear loses power when you take action consistently. Each step forward reduces uncertainty. Each experience builds knowledge. Over time, courage becomes a habit. You begin to approach challenges with calmness instead of hesitation. Facing fear also expands opportunities. When you stop avoiding challenges, new possibilities appear. You become willing to try new experiences. This openness leads to growth in many areas of life. It is important to celebrate your courage. Recognize moments when you faced fear. These acknowledgements reinforce positive behavior. They remind you that progress is happening. Over time, facing fear becomes easier. You develop resilience and confidence. You trust your ability to handle uncertainty. This trust creates stability. Fear may never disappear completely. Even experienced individuals feel fear when facing new challenges. The difference is how they respond. They act despite uncertainty. This approach strengthens growth. Each time you face fear, you expand your comfort zone. You build strength and resilience. These qualities support long-term success. Facing fear also improves emotional control. You learn to remain calm under pressure. This calmness improves decision-making. Your life changes when you stop avoiding fear. You gain confidence. You expand your abilities. You build resilience. Each step forward matters. Small actions lead to significant growth. Courage builds gradually. Facing fear directly is a powerful habit. It strengthens your mind and character. Over time, you become more capable. Commit to confronting fear with patience and determination. Each experience builds strength. Confidence grows naturally. You become stronger every time you face fear. This growth shapes your future. Courage transforms your life. Chapter 90. Eliminate distractions and commit fully to priorities. Distractions are the silent thieves of progress. They arrive quietly, taking attention without permission and leaving effort scattered. Many people spend hours each day reacting to interruptions without realizing how much energy is wasted. Every notification, unplanned conversation, or impulsive habit pulls focus from what truly matters. Over time, this pattern builds a life that feels busy but accomplishes little. The ability to commit fully to priorities begins by recognizing distractions for what they are and choosing to resist them deliberately. The first step in eliminating distractions is awareness. Observe how your attention is spent during a typical day. Note the moments when focus drifts. Notice how often your mind jumps to social media, idle conversations, or tasks that seem urgent but are not important. Awareness is powerful because it allows you to see where your energy goes. Without this clarity, it is impossible to make intentional changes. Observing patterns provides insight into habits that weaken your effectiveness. Once distractions are identified, take practical steps to remove them. Start with the most obvious interruptions. Silence unnecessary notifications. Close unused tabs. Limit time spent on low-value activities. Create a physical environment that supports focus. A clutter-free workspace encourages a clutter-free mind. The goal is to reduce friction between your attention and the work that matters. Even small adjustments can have a significant effect on your ability to concentrate. Commitment to priorities requires defining what is most important. Many people try to do everything at once and fail to achieve meaningful results. Instead, clearly identify the tasks that align with your long-term goals. Rank them according to urgency and value. Focus on completing high-priority work before addressing less critical items. This approach ensures that your energy is invested where it produces the greatest impact. Without clear priorities, effort is scattered and progress slows. Time blocking is a powerful method for maintaining focus. Allocate specific periods to work exclusively on high-priority tasks. During these blocks, remove interruptions completely. Treat the time as sacred. Protect it from emails, calls, and minor distractions. Committing to focused work strengthens discipline and creates measurable progress. Over time, this habit trains the mind to concentrate deeply and resist unnecessary diversions. Breaking work into manageable steps also reduces the temptation to get distracted. Large tasks often feel overwhelming, causing the mind to seek easier alternatives. By dividing work into smaller, actionable steps, you maintain momentum and reduce mental fatigue. Completion of small tasks provides immediate feedback and reinforces focus. This practice builds confidence and encourages continued commitment to priorities. Eliminating distractions also requires mastering internal interruptions. Thoughts, doubts, and anxieties can pull attention away from the task at hand. Instead of giving them power, acknowledge their presence and return focus to the work in front of you. Journaling or brief notes can capture intrusive ideas without letting them derail progress. Strengthening mental discipline in this way protects your attention from internal chaos. Routine supports focused commitment. Daily schedules create predictability and reduce decision fatigue. When priorities are embedded in a consistent routine, attention is naturally guided toward meaningful work. Habits such as starting the day with the most important task or setting aside time for reflection reinforce clarity. Over time, this structure transforms scattered energy into consistent progress. Boundaries are essential for protecting focus. Communicate clearly with others about when you are unavailable for non-essential interactions. Respect your own limits as well. Avoid overcommitting to obligations that distract from key goals. Saying no to lower value demands is a form of self-respect that preserves time and attention for meaningful work. Boundaries also reduce stress and enhance overall productivity. Technology can be both a tool and a distraction. Use it intentionally rather than reactively. Schedule specific times to check messages or social media rather than allowing constant interruptions. Tools that support focus, such as timers, task management apps, or noise-canceling devices, can reinforce concentration. Avoid relying on technology passively, which often leads to lost hours and diminished energy. Mindful technology use strengthens control over attention. Regular reflection enhances your ability to commit fully. At the end of each day, review what was accomplished and what was disrupted by distractions. Identify patterns and adjust strategies accordingly. Reflection prevents repeating the same mistakes and builds awareness of progress. Over time, the practice increases self-discipline and reinforces the habit of focused effort. Eliminating distractions also strengthens patience and persistence. Focused work often requires resisting immediate gratification. The temptation to seek comfort or entertainment is strong, but growth emerges from sustained effort. Each moment spent fully engaged on priorities reinforces resilience and enhances long-term performance. Patience becomes a tool for mastering attention and achieving meaningful outcomes. Accountability supports commitment. Share your goals and priorities with someone who can provide oversight. External accountability encourages follow-through when internal motivation wavers. Reporting progress strengthens focus and creates pressure to maintain high standards. Collaboration with accountability partners turns intention into action and reduces the likelihood of giving in to distractions. Mindset plays a central role in prioritization. View each task as an opportunity to advance toward meaningful outcomes. When you believe that your time and attention are valuable, it becomes easier to resist trivial interruptions. A purpose-driven approach transforms work from obligation into choice. This perspective increases engagement and ensures that effort is directed where it matters most. Energy management complements focus. Notice when your attention naturally wanes and schedule high-priority tasks during peak periods of alertness. Use breaks strategically to recharge without engaging in distracting activities. Physical health, including adequate sleep, nutrition, and exercise, directly impacts the ability to sustain concentration. Taking care of the body strengthens the mind and enhances capacity for focused work. Commit fully to priorities by eliminating multitasking. Switching between tasks reduces efficiency and increases mistakes. Focus on one important activity at a time. Immersion in a single task improves quality and accelerates completion. The brain responds positively to deep concentration, creating a sense of flow and accomplishment. Single tasking is a powerful antidote to scattered energy and distraction. Developing awareness of triggers is important for maintaining focus. Identify what prompts distraction, whether external interruptions or internal urges. Plan strategies to manage them proactively. Anticipating potential disruptions reduces reactive behavior and strengthens commitment. Over time, these strategies become habits that naturally protect attention. Celebrate progress to reinforce focus. Recognize the completion of high-priority tasks and the successful management of distractions. This acknowledgement strengthens motivation and encourages continued discipline. Rewarding yourself for focused effort reinforces the connection between commitment and satisfaction. Committing fully to priorities also requires regular pruning of unnecessary obligations. Evaluate your responsibilities periodically. Remove tasks that do not align with long-term goals. Simplifying your workload frees attention for meaningful activities and reduces stress. Minimalism in action supports concentration and reinforces the habit of deliberate effort. The ability to focus deeply transforms productivity. When distractions are eliminated, work is completed efficiently and with higher quality. Focused attention allows innovation, problem-solving, and mastery. It strengthens confidence and reinforces self-discipline. Each uninterrupted period of effort compounds into significant progress over time. Consistently eliminating distractions also shapes character. It cultivates patience, self-control, and clarity. These qualities extend beyond work and influence personal life, relationships, and decision-making. Mastery of attention becomes a foundation for growth and achievement. Ultimately, committing fully to priorities is a choice. It requires intentional action, discipline, and awareness. Every time distractions are resisted and focus is maintained, strength grows. Each completed priority reinforces the habit of deliberate effort. Over time, a life shaped by focused attention becomes productive, meaningful, and aligned with long-term goals. Chapter 10. Develop resilience by learning from every setback. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life. Every person encounters moments when plans fail, expectations are not met, or outcomes fall short. These moments can feel discouraging, overwhelming, or even paralyzing if approached without a deliberate mindset. The way a person responds to setbacks determines whether they will become stronger or weaker. Resilience is the skill of turning obstacles into lessons, transforming difficulties into fuel for growth. Developing resilience requires a clear understanding that failure is not a final verdict, but a signal for adjustment, learning, and persistence. The first step in building resilience is accepting that setbacks are a natural part of growth. Resistance or denial often increases frustration and delays recovery. People who refuse to acknowledge setbacks frequently repeat the same mistakes. Acceptance does not mean resignation, it means recognizing reality without exaggeration or distortion. By observing what has happened objectively, you create the space to respond effectively. This clarity separates emotional reactions from practical solutions and allows deliberate action to follow. Every setback carries valuable information. Instead of focusing solely on the negative impact, examine what caused the outcome. Was preparation insufficient? Was the approach ineffective? Did circumstances change unexpectedly? Learning to analyze setbacks without self-blame provides insight into patterns and weaknesses. The ability to extract lessons from mistakes accelerates growth and reduces the likelihood of repeating them. Observation paired with honest assessment is a cornerstone of resilience. Resilient individuals maintain perspective. One failure does not define ability or worth. Seeing setbacks as temporary and specific rather than permanent and universal allows the mind to recover faster. Perspective protects confidence and maintains motivation. It prevents the spiral of self-doubt that can accompany failure. Understanding that challenges are part of the journey helps maintain balance and focus, even when the path feels difficult. Taking responsibility for outcomes strengthens resilience. Blaming external factors exclusively removes control and diminishes power to change. By acknowledging personal influence, you reclaim authority over future actions. This does not mean assuming blame for everything, but recognizing areas where adjustment can improve results. Responsibility creates agency, and agency is empowering. It transforms setbacks from punishments into opportunities to regain control. Action is essential after a setback. Reflection without action leads to stagnation. Evaluate, plan, and implement. Consider what can be done differently next time. Identify small steps that lead to progress. Immediate application of lessons strengthens confidence and reinforces the habit of learning from every experience. Resilient people respond to challenges by moving forward deliberately rather than retreating into fear or regret. Emotional regulation is another key component. Setbacks often trigger strong reactions such as anger, disappointment, or anxiety. Acknowledging emotions without allowing them to dictate behavior is crucial. Techniques such as focused breathing, journaling, or talking through the experience can prevent emotional overwhelm. Emotional control preserves clarity, ensuring decisions are guided by strategy rather than reaction. This practice builds mental strength and stabilizes long-term resilience. Reframing setbacks encourages growth. Instead of seeing failure as a negative endpoint, view it as feedback. Each obstacle signals areas for improvement. By adopting this mindset, setbacks become integral to the learning process. Resilience grows when individuals shift from avoidance or frustration toward curiosity and adaptation. Reframing transforms adversity into opportunity, reinforcing constructive behavior over time. Resilient people also cultivate persistence. Success is rarely achieved in the first attempt. Continuing to move forward despite difficulties strengthens character and skill. Persistence reinforces the belief that effort produces results and that failure is temporary. Each step taken after a setback becomes evidence of capability and commitment, creating a foundation for long-term success. Flexibility enhances resilience. When a plan fails, rigid thinking can deepen frustration. Adaptation allows you to adjust strategies, explore alternatives, and maintain momentum. Flexibility is not abandoning goals, it is finding the most effective route toward them. The ability to pivot when necessary ensures that setbacks are obstacles rather than roadblocks, keeping progress alive despite challenges. Building a support system strengthens recovery from setbacks. Surround yourself with individuals who offer guidance, encouragement, and honest feedback. External perspectives can provide clarity that internal reflection may miss. Mentorship, peer accountability, and constructive dialogue accelerate learning from difficulties and reinforce the sense of shared experience. Human connection often softens the emotional impact of failure while amplifying insight. Self-discipline also plays a crucial role. Resilience requires the ability to continue working toward goals despite discomfort or frustration. Discipline ensures consistent action even when motivation wanes after a setback. Daily habits that reinforce focus, effort, and persistence create a buffer against discouragement, making recovery faster and more sustainable. Consistent practice strengthens the mind to tolerate difficulty without yielding to defeat. Resilient individuals celebrate small victories along the way. Even incremental progress after a setback deserves recognition. Acknowledging these improvements reinforces effort and sustains morale. Celebrating success does not negate the learning from failure, it complements it. This balance of recognition and analysis nurtures a strong, confident mindset capable of enduring multiple challenges. Reflection over time reinforces resilience. Periodically reviewing past setbacks and observing growth strengthens the belief that obstacles are surmountable. Noticing progress builds self-trust and patience. The accumulation of lessons learned enhances confidence in tackling new difficulties. Reflection also helps identify strategies that work consistently, providing a blueprint for future problem solving and a sense of mastery over challenges. Mindset is the foundation of resilience. Viewing setbacks as natural, manageable, and instructive fosters a proactive approach. When failure is reframed as data rather than judgment, the mind focuses on solutions instead of worry. A resilient mindset values effort and process over instant success. It recognizes that strength develops through struggle and wisdom emerges from mistakes. Resilience is cultivated gradually. One cannot become fully resistant to setbacks overnight. Each experience provides an opportunity to practice skills of reflection, analysis, adaptation, and perseverance. Over time, the cumulative effect of learning from adversity produces a mindset that remains steady under pressure. This continuous development ensures that challenges become teachers rather than sources of lasting defeat. Confidence and resilience are interconnected. Successfully navigating difficulties strengthens self-belief. The knowledge that you can survive hardship and emerge wiser fosters courage for future challenges. Resilience enhances confidence, and confidence reinforces resilience. Together, they create a cycle of growth and empowerment that strengthens over time. Physical and mental health support resilience. Adequate rest, nutrition, and exercise enhance energy, focus, and emotional regulation. A strong body supports a strong mind, making it easier to respond calmly to setbacks. Neglecting basic health increases vulnerability to discouragement, reducing the ability to act effectively when difficulties arise. Caring for the body is a practical and essential part of developing lasting resilience. Finally, resilience is not just about surviving setbacks, it is about thriving because of them. Each failure teaches lessons, builds skills, and strengthens character. By approaching setbacks intentionally, analyzing their causes, implementing changes, and continuing forward with discipline, individuals transform adversity into growth. Over time, challenges no longer appear as threats, but as stepping stones toward greater capability, wisdom, and achievement. Developing resilience is the foundation for a life that moves forward with strength, clarity, and purpose, making every setback an opportunity to emerge stronger and more capable than before. Chapter 11. Take responsibility and own every life decision. Taking full responsibility for life is the single most transformative choice a person can make. Many people drift through life reacting to circumstances, blaming others, or waiting for external forces to dictate outcomes. That approach limits growth, reduces power, and leaves life largely unfulfilled. Owning every decision means acknowledging that your choices shape your reality, and no one else is responsible for your results. It does not mean perfection or self-blame for every difficulty, but it does mean refusing to hand over control to excuses, circumstances, or other people. Responsibility empowers action and transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. The first step in embracing responsibility is self-awareness. Examine how often you attribute outcomes to factors outside your control. Notice when thoughts of blame or complaint arise. Recognize patterns of avoidance. Awareness uncovers the subtle ways people relinquish power. Only by observing your behavior honestly can you begin to shift toward ownership. Awareness is not judgment, it is clarity. It creates a foundation for deliberate action instead of reaction. Every decision has consequences. Some are immediate, others unfold over time. Recognizing this truth strengthens intentionality. When you understand that every choice, what you say, how you act, what you invest time in, affects your future, you begin to weigh decisions with care. This mindset fosters focus, discipline, and a stronger connection between effort and results. Taking responsibility for outcomes transforms passive existence into proactive living. Avoiding responsibility may feel comfortable in the moment. It allows excuses to mask inaction, avoids conflict, and protects ego. Yet, the comfort is temporary, and the cost is enormous. Over time, avoiding responsibility erodes confidence, delays growth, and fosters a sense of helplessness. Real empowerment comes from facing life honestly, acknowledging your role, and taking deliberate steps to influence your circumstances. Ownership is the antidote to frustration. Decisions range from small daily choices to major life-altering actions. Owning them all requires consistency. Morning routines, work habits, relationships, and finances are shaped by decisions made repeatedly over time. Even seemingly minor choices accumulate into significant results. Taking ownership means evaluating the impact of small actions, correcting course when necessary, and refusing to ignore patterns that undermine progress. This attention to detail strengthens both character and outcomes. Responsibility also involves learning from mistakes. When a decision produces an undesired outcome, resist the urge to blame others or circumstances. Instead, analyze what went wrong and why. Extract practical lessons and apply them to future choices. Each experience becomes a teacher. A commitment to learning from every decision fosters resilience and sharpens judgment. Ownership transforms failure from defeat into opportunity. Emotional ownership is equally important. Taking responsibility includes managing reactions, moods, and attitudes. Life does not always unfold as planned, but your response remains under your control. You may not dictate events, but you dictate perspective, effort, and action. Emotional responsibility strengthens mental clarity and preserves focus on productive responses rather than wasting energy on complaints or resentment. Accountability reinforces ownership. When you share your intentions with others and commit publicly, you increase follow-through. Accountability is not dependent on punishment or external judgment. It is a tool for clarity and motivation. It encourages follow-through on promises made to yourself and strengthens the habit of owning decisions consistently. External reinforcement accelerates the internalization of responsibility. Decision-making skills grow with practice. Take ownership by approaching choices deliberately. Consider options carefully, evaluate likely outcomes, and anticipate obstacles. This process develops foresight, reduces regret, and builds confidence. Even when results are not ideal, thoughtful decision-making creates a sense of control and readiness for the next challenge. Ownership and preparation strengthen each other. Taking responsibility also requires courage. It can be uncomfortable to acknowledge that your life is a product of your choices. It challenges habits of blame and avoidance. Owning decisions may expose mistakes, require difficult conversations, or demand changes in behavior. Courage allows you to face these realities directly, accept accountability, and move forward. Without courage, responsibility is only an abstract idea, not a practical tool for growth. Self-reliance grows through ownership. When you depend on yourself to navigate challenges, you reduce reliance on luck or external validation. This independence strengthens confidence and encourages proactive behavior. Self-reliance does not mean isolation. It means trusting your judgment and acting with integrity. Each decision owned builds competence, self-respect, and a stronger sense of personal agency. Prioritization supports effective ownership. Not all decisions are equal. Distinguish between what is essential and what is trivial. Focus energy on choices that align with values, goals, and long-term vision. Avoid wasting attention on matters that do not contribute meaningfully to growth. Responsible decision-making involves clarity about priorities and refusal to let unimportant factors dictate life. Responsibility also strengthens relationships. When you own your actions, you communicate honesty, reliability, and integrity. Others recognize that you do not shift blame or avoid accountability. This trust fosters stronger personal and professional connections. Conversely, avoiding responsibility erodes credibility and strains collaboration. Ownership builds respect and demonstrates strength of character. Time management is a critical part of ownership. How you allocate hours and energy is a direct reflection of your priorities. Taking responsibility means designing days intentionally rather than reacting to distractions. It requires setting boundaries, creating schedules, and committing to productive focus. Ownership over time allows goals to be met steadily and efficiently, reinforcing a sense of mastery over life. Learning to say no is also part of responsibility. Accepting every opportunity or request dilutes focus and undermines priorities. Owning your life involves making choices that serve long-term objectives, not immediate convenience. Saying no protects attention, energy, and commitment to meaningful goals. Boundaries are an expression of deliberate ownership and respect for your own priorities. Reflecting on past decisions strengthens future responsibility. Regular review allows evaluation of successes and failures, highlighting lessons to apply moving forward. Reflection is not dwelling on mistakes, it is analysis and learning. This practice increases wisdom, reduces repeated errors, and fosters a disciplined approach to future actions. Reflection ensures that ownership is active rather than passive. Responsibility is intertwined with integrity. Owning decisions means acting consistently with values even when inconvenient. It builds self-respect and maintains alignment between actions and principles. Integrity ensures that decisions contribute positively to personal growth and long-term fulfillment. Actions taken without accountability to values diminish both confidence and effectiveness. Ownership also supports problem solving. When challenges arise, responsible individuals seek solutions rather than blaming circumstances. They focus on what can be done, how to adjust, and what steps will produce results. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and strengthens resilience. Responsibility produces action-oriented thinking that drives continuous improvement. Committing to own every decision enhances confidence. Knowing that you control your choices reduces uncertainty and fear. Confidence grows from repeated practice of making decisions and accepting consequences. Each successful resolution reinforces self-trust. This cycle strengthens both mindset and performance, creating a life led with intentionality rather than reaction. Ultimately, taking responsibility is liberation. It shifts power from external circumstances to internal capability. It fosters growth, strengthens relationships, and cultivates self-respect. It transforms mistakes into lessons, challenges into opportunities, and choices into tools for creating the life you desire. Ownership of every decision is the foundation of personal mastery and the key to sustained success. Chapter 1:20 Push physical limits to unlock greater inner strength. The body is not just a vessel, it is a source of strength that influences the mind and spirit. Pushing physical limits develops endurance, resilience, and confidence in ways that translate directly into every area of life. Most people underestimate how closely physical and mental strength are linked. When the body is challenged, the mind must adapt, and when the mind adapts, inner strength grows. True power comes from consistently engaging the body in disciplined effort that stretches beyond comfort, forcing growth and awareness of one's capacity. This process transforms fatigue into focus, discomfort into resilience, and struggle into self-knowledge. To push physical limits, it begins with setting measurable goals. Whether running a longer distance, lifting heavier weights, or practicing intense physical routines, clear objectives provide direction and motivation. Goals create a benchmark for effort and give context to each session. Without measurable targets, effort can be unfocused, and progress becomes difficult to track. Defining what, beyond your current limits, looks like ensures that each challenge has meaning and purpose. Discomfort is inevitable when pushing boundaries. It signals adaptation rather than failure. Many people stop too early, mistaking temporary strain for an absolute limit. Learning to recognize the difference is critical. Discomfort can feel like muscle fatigue, rapid breathing, or mental resistance, but these sensations are indicators of progress. Understanding this distinction allows the body and mind to continue safely beyond initial resistance, strengthening both physical and psychological endurance. Consistency is more important than intensity alone. Sporadic efforts create temporary results, but do not develop lasting strength. Daily or regular practice cultivates stamina, skill, and mental resilience. Repetition teaches the mind that persistence through challenge produces results. Over time, even small consistent efforts accumulate into significant gains. Discipline in showing up is as critical as pushing to the next level. Mental preparation enhances physical performance. Anticipating difficulty and visualizing success primes the body and mind for effort. Athletes often use mental rehearsal to imagine completing a challenging activity before physically attempting it. This strengthens focus, reduces hesitation, and prepares the nervous system for action. Preparation also builds confidence, reducing fear of failure when pushing beyond normal limits. Breathing and focus are essential tools for surpassing physical limits. The body responds to controlled breathing with increased oxygenation, reduced tension, and improved endurance. Mindful attention to movement ensures efficient energy use and reduces risk of injury. Concentration channels effort effectively, preventing wasted energy from distractions or negative self-talk. Mastering these techniques amplifies strength and fortifies inner resilience. Incremental progression prevents burnout and injury while still challenging the body. Gradually increasing weight distance or intensity allows adaptation while preserving safety. This approach builds both confidence and competence. Each increment achieved reinforces belief in ability and readiness for the next challenge. Progress, no matter how small, creates momentum that strengthens both body and mind. Failure during physical challenges is instructive. Missing a goal, struggling with a task, or reaching apparent limits teaches resilience and strategy. Each setback offers insight into areas that require adjustment, whether technique, preparation, or mindset. Embracing failure as part of growth shifts perspective from avoidance to learning. Inner strength is forged in the willingness to face challenge, endure discomfort, and continue despite temporary defeat. Pushing physical limits cultivates patience and humility. Strength does not appear overnight. Achieving new heights requires incremental effort, adaptation, and the acceptance that improvement is gradual. Humility comes from acknowledging limits while pursuing them deliberately. Patience ensures persistence through plateaus, fatigue, and frustration. Together, these qualities reinforce mental toughness alongside physical capability. Nutrition, rest, and recovery are critical components. The body needs fuel and restoration to adapt to challenge. Overtraining or neglecting recovery undermines progress. Balanced nutrition, hydration, and adequate sleep ensure energy is available for effort, support repair, and maintain focus. Taking care of the body enhances resilience and reinforces discipline, demonstrating that inner strength is sustained through mindful physical management. Pushing limits often uncovers hidden mental barriers. Fear of discomfort, doubt about capability, or hesitation to continue can restrict potential. Physical challenges expose these limits clearly, creating opportunities to confront and overcome them. Each time the mind encourages surrender but the body persists, confidence grows. Strength is not just in muscle, it is in the mental determination to continue despite resistance. Tracking progress reinforces motivation and insight. Recording achievements, noting improvements, and analyzing setbacks allows recognition of growth over time. This provides tangible proof that pushing limits produces results. Awareness of progress strengthens commitment and builds a sense of mastery. It also offers clarity about areas needing attention, ensuring future efforts are focused and effective. Discipline in routine amplifies results. Establishing consistent training schedules, adhering to warm-ups, and systematically challenging the body reduces reliance on fleeting motivation. Habit creates resilience by ensuring action occurs even when enthusiasm is low. Routine fortifies both body and mind, forming a foundation for sustained growth and the ability to push further over time. Adversity in physical challenges mirrors life challenges. Experiencing exhaustion, pain, or doubt during training builds the capacity to endure difficulty outside of exercise. The principles learned, perseverance, adaptation, and focus, translate directly to emotional, professional, and personal contexts. Physical limits are a rehearsal for life's obstacles, and the mindset developed becomes a tool for broader resilience. Visualization of goals enhances performance. Imagining the body completing a difficult task primes the nervous system, strengthens motivation, and fosters determination. This mental rehearsal prepares the body for effort, reducing hesitation and increasing efficiency. Seeing success in the mind creates a roadmap for achievement and reinforces belief in capability. Accountability and challenge amplify results. Training with partners, coaches, or groups creates external pressure that encourages pushing beyond comfort. Observing others face challenges inspires effort and demonstrates that limits are often self-imposed. Accountability ensures consistency and drives the pursuit of higher standards. Mindful reflection strengthens understanding of progress. Reviewing what felt difficult, what succeeded, and what requires adjustment informs future action. Reflection ensures effort is purposeful, reduces repeated errors, and enhances awareness of growth. Each session becomes both physical practice and learning opportunity, strengthening the mind alongside the body. Resilience is built through repetition of effort under stress. Each session that stretches capacity reinforces the belief that difficulty can be managed. Mental fatigue, physical strain, and temporary discomfort become markers of growth rather than deterrents. Over time, these experiences cultivate patience, perseverance, and inner fortitude. Pushing physical limits also reinforces confidence in decision-making. When you witness your body accomplish more than you expected, trust in your capacity grows. This confidence extends into professional and personal life, influencing the ability to take risks, solve problems, and lead. Physical success becomes a tangible reminder of capability and discipline. Ultimately, pushing physical limits is a practice of holistic growth. It combines body, mind, and spirit, teaching discipline, focus, resilience, and confidence. The process transforms discomfort into achievement and effort into empowerment. By consistently challenging the body, observing results, reflecting on progress, and embracing struggle, inner strength is unlocked. Physical limitations become opportunities for expansion, and each effort beyond comfort reinforces the mindset of courage, persistence, and self-mastery. This practice builds a foundation that supports every pursuit, proving that the strength of the body shapes the strength of the mind and character. Chapter 13: The Improved Daily Routines to Support Long-Term Growth. Daily routines shape the trajectory of life more than sporadic effort ever can. Consistency in small actions compounds over time into extraordinary results. Many people underestimate how much their day-to-day behaviors influence long-term success. Improving routines is not about adding complexity, it is about refining habits to align with goals, values, and priorities. Every choice you make during the day either moves you closer to your vision or creates unnecessary friction that delays progress. Deliberate routines provide structure, reduce decision fatigue, and ensure energy is invested where it matters most. Start by evaluating current habits objectively. Observe the flow of your day from morning to evening. Identify actions that contribute positively to goals and those that drain energy or create inefficiency. Awareness is essential because it allows targeted improvements rather than arbitrary changes. Knowing what works and what doesn't ensures that adjustments produce meaningful impact rather than wasted effort. Morning routines set the tone for the entire day. The way you begin influences focus, energy, and productivity. Prioritize actions that energize, clarify, and prepare the mind for work ahead. Activities such as focused planning, exercise, and deliberate reflection activate both body and mind, creating momentum. A structured start reduces the likelihood of distraction and reactive behavior throughout the day. Evening routines are equally important. Ending the day intentionally allows for reflection, preparation, and recovery. Reviewing accomplishments and noting lessons learned reinforces growth. Planning the next day ensures priorities are clear and reduces decision fatigue in the morning. Sleep routines also play a crucial role in sustaining energy and cognitive function. Optimizing both morning and evening practices creates a consistent rhythm that supports long-term growth. Small changes in daily habits produce compounding effects. Adding 5 minutes of focused practice, dedicating time to reading, or performing one additional task daily may seem minor, but repeated over weeks and months, these improvements accumulate into significant results. Incremental progress reinforces confidence and demonstrates the power of consistent effort. Time management is essential for effective routines. Allocate periods for focused work, rest, learning, and personal growth. Avoid multitasking that scatters energy and reduces efficiency. Structured time ensures that critical priorities receive consistent attention while minimizing wasted effort. Routines that respect time create a sense of control and clarity over daily outcomes. Preparation reduces friction and increases consistency. Organizing tasks, tools, and materials ahead of time removes barriers to action. Preparation ensures that routines are easy to execute, reduces procrastination, and maintains momentum. When effort flows naturally without unnecessary resistance, consistency becomes sustainable and growth becomes inevitable. Routines should balance challenge and recovery. Sustained growth requires pushing limits while allowing time for physical and mental rejuvenation. Overloading the day leads to burnout, diminishing returns, and compromised performance. Strategic inclusion of rest, reflection, and light activity ensures that effort is productive, energy is preserved, and long-term sustainability is maintained. Reflection within routines fosters learning. Taking a few minutes to review successes, failures, and areas for improvement strengthens awareness and informs adjustments. Journaling, tracking progress, or brief self-assessment sessions integrate reflection into daily life. This practice ensures that routines evolve with changing goals and circumstances rather than stagnate into unproductive habits. Consistency builds confidence. When daily actions align with long-term objectives, trust in one's ability to achieve grows naturally. Confidence from disciplined routines reinforces motivation, reduces self-doubt, and encourages further growth. Confidence is reinforced not by isolated achievements, but by the steady accumulation of effort over time. Prioritization ensures routines support meaningful goals. Not all actions contribute equally to growth. Identify high-value tasks that directly impact objectives and focus routines on executing them consistently. Eliminating low-value activities frees time and energy for what truly matters. Effective routines amplify the effects of effort, ensuring that growth is strategic and sustainable. Flexibility within routines allows adaptation without losing momentum. Life is unpredictable, and rigid routines can create frustration when plans shift. A resilient approach incorporates adjustment, maintains key priorities, and adapts sequencing to changing circumstances. Flexibility ensures consistency in essential actions while accommodating life's unpredictability. Routines also influence mindset. Structured days cultivate discipline, focus, and a sense of control. Habits of intentional action reduce stress, improve decision-making, and reinforce the belief that outcomes are determined by effort rather than chance. Mindset shifts support resilience and create a positive feedback loop between behavior and mental state. Integration of learning into daily routines accelerates growth. Allocate time for reading, skill development, reflection, or coaching. Consistent application of new knowledge strengthens both competence and confidence. Routines that incorporate continuous learning ensure progress is deliberate, measurable, and aligned with long-term objectives. Physical health routines complement mental and emotional growth. Exercise, nutrition, and restorative practices enhance energy, focus, and resilience. Regular attention to the body strengthens the mind, creating capacity for consistent effort. Ignoring health reduces effectiveness of other routines, making holistic daily planning critical for sustained growth. Eliminating unnecessary tasks increases routine efficiency. Streamlining decision-making, reducing trivial activities, and avoiding distractions allows energy to be allocated to high-priority growth actions. Efficiency reinforces consistency, prevents fatigue, and maximizes impact over time. Intentional simplification ensures that routines serve purpose rather than become burdensome. Accountability strengthens routine adherence. Sharing goals, progress, and challenges with trusted partners encourages consistency and reduces procrastination. External support provides motivation, feedback, and reinforcement of habits, ensuring that routines are not easily abandoned. Accountability amplifies the effectiveness of daily efforts. Visualization and intention setting within routines enhance focus and results. Starting each day with a clear vision of desired outcomes primes the mind for action. Reinforcing purpose aligns habits with objectives and increases likelihood of disciplined execution. Intentional routines become more than repetitive tasks. They become strategic instruments of growth. Habits of reflection, preparation, and consistent action reinforce resilience. Even when days feel difficult or motivation is low, established routines provide structure and direction. Reliance on habits rather than fleeting inspiration ensures continued progress and builds long-term capability. Resilient routines create a foundation that supports achievement even in challenging circumstances. Ultimately, improving daily routines is about deliberate design. Every action, habit, and schedule choice should align with growth objectives. Thoughtful routines cultivate discipline, focus, and efficiency while reducing wasted effort. Consistent execution of optimized routines compounds over time, producing measurable results, greater self-confidence, and sustainable progress. Daily habits, when intentionally structured, become the engine that drives long-term growth, turning ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Chapter 1 Thusain Learn continuously and apply knowledge without delay. Continuous learning is not a luxury, it is a necessity for growth and progress. Knowledge alone does not create results unless it is applied promptly. Many people accumulate information without translating it into action, leaving potential untapped. True advancement comes from integrating learning into everyday decisions, behavior, and problem solving. Each new concept, skill, or insight should be seen as a tool, ready to be used immediately. Delaying application diminishes momentum and reduces the impact of knowledge. The faster lessons are put into practice, the faster growth compounds. Start by creating a mindset that values learning in every situation. Every conversation, challenge, and experience holds a lesson. Treat failures and successes alike as opportunities to expand understanding. Awareness of this principle turns ordinary moments into sources of growth. Curiosity becomes a habit when you actively seek meaning and insight from daily experiences. This habit ensures that learning is constant rather than occasional, producing continuous improvement over time. Identify reliable sources of knowledge. Books, mentors, courses, and experienced peers provide guidance that accelerates learning. Filter information critically, focusing on quality and relevance. Avoid distractions that offer superficial understanding without practical value. Prioritizing sources that provide actionable insights ensures that effort invested in learning produces tangible results. Knowledge without direction is wasted energy, while applied knowledge builds capability rapidly. Immediate application is essential. When a new concept is understood, identify how to implement it in real situations. Experimentation transforms theory into skill. Waiting for perfect conditions or ideal circumstances delays growth. Action reinforces understanding, clarifies gaps, and develops competence. Even small steps taken immediately create momentum and reinforce the connection between learning and performance. Reflective practice strengthens retention and effectiveness. After applying knowledge, evaluate results. What worked well? What needs adjustment? Reflection allows refinement of strategies and prevents repetition of mistakes. It creates a feedback loop in which learning continuously informs action. This process ensures that knowledge is dynamic, evolving, and increasingly effective with each cycle. Developing discipline supports consistent learning and application. Set aside time daily to study, practice, or experiment. Treat these sessions as non-negotiable priorities. Consistency transforms learning from an occasional pursuit into a lifestyle. Over time, disciplined routines produce expertise, confidence, and the ability to respond effectively to complex challenges. Integration of new skills into existing routines amplifies results. Knowledge is most powerful when embedded in behavior. Techniques, strategies, and insights should influence daily decisions, communication, problem solving, and goal execution. This integration transforms learning from abstract understanding into practical advantage. Every day becomes an opportunity to reinforce competence and expand capability. Accountability enhances learning and application. Sharing objectives, progress, and challenges with mentors, peers, or coaches creates motivation and ensures follow-through. External feedback validates progress and identifies blind spots that might otherwise be overlooked. Accountability reinforces the habit of immediate application and accelerates mastery, preventing stagnation or procrastination in the learning process. Embracing mistakes is critical to learning. Errors are feedback, not failure. Each misstep provides insight into gaps, limitations, or ineffective strategies. Responding constructively to mistakes strengthens resilience and deepens understanding. Avoiding or ignoring errors delays progress, while confronting them builds skill and confidence simultaneously. Mistakes become a resource rather than a liability when learning is prioritized. Practical experimentation enhances understanding. Applying theories, testing methods, and adjusting approaches create experiential knowledge that cannot be gained from observation alone. This hands-on approach accelerates learning, solidifies retention, and develops problem-solving skills. Knowledge that remains theoretical has limited impact, while knowledge applied repeatedly produces expertise and self-reliance. Time management ensures that learning and application are sustained. Allocate periods for study, practice, and reflection while balancing responsibilities. Prioritize actions that produce meaningful outcomes. Avoid overcommitting to information accumulation without integrating it into action. Structured time supports deliberate growth, making learning consistent, focused, and effective over the long term. Curiosity fuels continuous improvement. Ask questions, seek clarification, and explore beyond immediate requirements. Curiosity encourages engagement, creativity, and deeper comprehension. It transforms passive consumption into active exploration, producing insights that drive innovation and personal development. A curious mind ensures that learning is ongoing and adaptable to changing circumstances. Integration of technology and tools can amplify learning. Digital platforms, apps, and online courses provide access to knowledge and practical exercises. Utilize tools strategically to enhance comprehension and skill acquisition. Technology can accelerate application when used deliberately, turning abstract concepts into actionable steps that reinforce growth daily. Prioritize application over perfection. Waiting for complete understanding or flawless execution often results in delay and inaction. Learning is reinforced through doing. Mistakes, adjustments, and iterations strengthen skill and comprehension more effectively than delayed preparation. Progress requires imperfect action implemented consistently and thoughtfully. Collaboration strengthens learning and application. Engaging with peers, mentors, or communities allows sharing of perspectives, feedback, and experience. Collaborative environments provide opportunities to test knowledge, refine strategies, and adopt best practices from others. Shared learning reinforces accountability, accelerates insight, and broadens understanding beyond individual experience. Visualization supports application of knowledge. Imagining the steps needed to implement a new skill or concept primes the mind and clarifies processes. Visualization enhances focus, reduces hesitation, and increases confidence in execution. Preparing mentally bridges the gap between understanding and performance, making action more deliberate and effective. Regular review ensures retention and continued relevance. Revisiting previously learned concepts consolidates memory and highlights areas needing reinforcement. Continuous review prevents knowledge decay, strengthens mastery, and allows refinement of application strategies. Revisiting lessons regularly integrates them into skill sets and routines for sustained growth. Balance learning with execution. Absorbing information without practical use is ineffective. Conversely, acting without understanding can produce errors and inefficiency. Harmonizing study and application ensures that knowledge becomes functional skill. Each step of action reinforces comprehension, producing measurable improvement in capability, confidence, and results. Mindset determines how effectively knowledge is applied. Approaching learning with openness, humility, and persistence creates conditions for deep integration and effective use. Resistance, arrogance, or impatience limits absorption and slows application. A growth-focused mindset ensures that lessons are internalized and acted upon, producing continuous improvement and adaptability. Finally, learning continuously and applying knowledge without delay is a practice that shapes every aspect of personal and professional growth. It strengthens adaptability, sharpens skills, enhances confidence, and accelerates achievement. Knowledge is maximized not by accumulation but by immediate and consistent application. Each lesson applied builds competence, each action taken reinforces insight, and each cycle of learning transforms potential into measurable progress, creating momentum that drives lasting success, capability, and mastery in life. Chapter 15. Surround yourself with people who demand excellence. The people you spend the most time with shape your mindset, habits, and expectations more than any other influence in your life. Surrounding yourself with individuals who demand excellence creates an environment that naturally elevates performance and ambition. Mediocrity thrives in isolation, but high standards are contagious. The influence of those who push boundaries, hold themselves accountable, and refuse to settle creates pressure and inspiration that drives improvement. Choosing your circle intentionally is not superficial, it is strategic. Every conversation, interaction, and relationship either strengthens commitment to growth or undermines it. Start by evaluating your current environment. Notice whose opinions you value, whose behaviors influence your decisions, and whose presence inspires or drains you. Identify relationships that encourage passivity, low effort, or excuses. Awareness of these dynamics allows conscious selection of interactions that reinforce ambition and discipline. Choosing the right people is an active step, not a passive hope that influence will change on its own. Seek individuals who model the standards you aspire to achieve. Observe how they act, respond to challenges, and maintain consistency in their growth. Their commitment to excellence sets a benchmark for what is possible. Learning from them accelerates your development because their habits, mindset, and strategies provide templates for success. Exposure to high performers demonstrates the potential within reach when effort, discipline, and focus are applied consistently. Accountability strengthens growth when combined with high-achieving peers. Sharing goals, progress, and setbacks with those who expect excellence creates pressure that motivates follow-through. These relationships are not about competition alone, they are about mutual reinforcement of discipline and focus. When peers demand your best, it becomes difficult to justify underperformance. Accountability transforms ambition into consistent action. Engage with people who challenge assumptions and encourage critical thinking. Individuals who demand excellence question complacency, push for higher standards, and resist settling for convenience. Their presence provokes reflection and inspires improvement. Conversations with them stimulate innovation, resilience, and problem-solving. Being around such individuals ensures that your mindset remains dynamic and growth-oriented rather than stagnant and comfortable. Distance yourself from toxic or complacent influences. Relationships that normalize mediocrity, promote negativity, or tolerate excuses undermine progress. Limiting exposure to these influences frees mental and emotional energy for constructive action. Strategic separation from such relationships does not require confrontation. It simply involves prioritizing interaction with those who elevate standards. Collaborate with people who share ambition and vision. Working alongside others who pursue similar goals reinforces effort, provides support, and models effective practices. Collaboration with high-achieving peers creates an environment where excellence becomes a baseline expectation. Shared objectives motivate sustained discipline and create opportunities for learning from each other's strengths and strategies. Observe behaviors and adopt effective habits. High-performing individuals demonstrate routines, focus, and problem-solving approaches that can be emulated. Observing their discipline, preparation, and persistence allows the integration of their best practices into your own life. This does not mean imitation without understanding, but rather learning through consistent exposure to effective strategies. Set boundaries that protect your time and attention. Excellence requires focus, and the people you interact with determine the quality of your energy. Limit engagements that distract, demotivate, or encourage compromise of standards. Guarding your environment ensures that effort is directed toward constructive growth rather than diluted by low expectations or negative influence. Seek mentorship from those who demand excellence. Mentors provide guidance, feedback, and accountability that accelerates development. Their perspective offers insight into pitfalls, strategies, and decisions that produce results. Mentorship also provides a model of character, resilience, and discipline to emulate, creating a roadmap for higher achievement. Commit to contributing value to the people around you. Surrounding yourself with high achievers is reciprocal. Support, encouragement, and constructive feedback reinforce relationships and foster mutual growth. Contributing your effort and insight to those who demand excellence strengthens bonds and ensures that the influence is balanced and sustainable. Regularly review and adjust your circle. People change and your goals evolve. Periodically assess whether relationships continue to support growth or if adjustments are necessary. Maintaining an environment of excellence is an ongoing process, not a one-time action. Continuity ensures that influence remains aligned with ambition and purpose. Embrace diversity within high-performing circles. Different experiences, perspectives, and skill sets broaden understanding and expand capabilities. Exposure to varied approaches to excellence provides multiple strategies for overcoming challenges, making decisions, and achieving goals. A diverse, high-achieving environment fosters adaptability and innovative thinking. Challenge yourself within your circle. High achievers create opportunities for testing limits, receiving feedback, and pushing beyond comfort. Engaging fully with such peers reinforces discipline and resilience while building competence and confidence. The environment becomes a laboratory for personal growth, where effort and experimentation produce measurable improvement. Learn from both successes and failures of those around you. Observing achievements demonstrates what is possible, while understanding setbacks offers lessons that accelerate personal development. High-achieving peers provide examples of perseverance, adaptation, and accountability that inform better decision-making and stronger strategy in your own life. Adopt a mindset of continuous improvement within the group. Excellence is not static, and those who demand it never settle. Being part of such an environment cultivates vigilance against complacency, ensuring that personal growth is ongoing. A culture of consistent progress reinforces habits that produce long-term achievement. Prioritize quality over quantity in relationships. Deep, meaningful connections with a few individuals who elevate standards are more impactful than superficial interactions with many. Focused engagement with high performers maximizes learning, accountability, and inspiration while minimizing distractions and diluted influence. Celebrate progress with peers to reinforce motivation. Recognizing effort and achievement within your circle encourages continuation of high standards. Positive reinforcement strengthens commitment, builds morale, and sustains a culture where effort and results are valued. Collective recognition amplifies motivation for sustained excellence. Adopt the mindset that your environment reflects your choices. The people around you are a mirror of what you tolerate, value, and pursue. Taking ownership of relationships is taking ownership of growth. Surrounding yourself intentionally with individuals who demand excellence ensures that ambition, discipline, and high performance are continuously reinforced. Ultimately, surrounding yourself with people who demand excellence transforms both mindset and behavior. It fosters accountability, inspires higher effort, reinforces discipline, and accelerates growth. The influence of high-performing individuals shapes decisions, habits, and perspectives, creating a consistent environment that elevates standards and supports long-term achievement. Choosing your circle intentionally is one of the most strategic and powerful actions to sustain progress, cultivate resilience, and realize potential fully. Chapter 16c. Take imperfect action instead of waiting for perfection. Perfection is an illusion that often paralyzes progress and limits potential. Waiting for the ideal moment, flawless conditions, or complete understanding prevents action and stalls growth. Success is rarely achieved through flawless execution, but through consistent effort and adaptability. Imperfect action, even when incomplete or flawed, produces results, builds momentum, and generates valuable learning. Taking steps forward, even if they are not perfect, demonstrates commitment and creates the opportunity for refinement. Each attempt provides feedback, experience, and insight that cannot be gained by waiting passively. Action transforms ideas into tangible outcomes, while perfectionism leaves them unrealized. Begin by acknowledging that mistakes are part of the process. Missteps provide clarity about what works and what does not, making each subsequent action more effective. Avoid viewing errors as failure. Instead, see them as essential signals guiding improvement. Immediate effort reveals gaps in understanding, exposes limitations, and encourages creative problem solving. Each attempt, regardless of imperfection, develops competence, resilience, and confidence. Set realistic expectations that emphasize progress over flawlessness. Focus on achieving steps forward rather than executing flawlessly. This mindset encourages starting now rather than waiting indefinitely. When small actions are taken consistently, improvements accumulate, often surpassing outcomes that were imagined under ideal conditions. Momentum gained from imperfect action propels further effort and reinforces belief in capability. Prioritize learning through action. Knowledge without implementation is dormant. Theory becomes valuable only when tested in real scenarios. Imperfect execution produces feedback that sharpens understanding and strengthens skills. Experimentation allows adaptation to real-world conditions that cannot be fully anticipated. Taking action, even with uncertainty, accelerates development in ways waiting for perfection never can. Break large tasks into manageable steps. Perfectionism often arises from overwhelming complexity. By dividing goals into smaller, achievable actions, progress becomes tangible and less intimidating. Completing these incremental steps builds confidence and ensures continuous movement. Each small accomplishment reinforces the habit of starting and sustaining effort despite uncertainty or imperfection. Embrace a mindset of continuous iteration. Rarely will the first attempt produce a perfect result, but each repetition allows refinement. Use feedback to adjust methods, strategies, and execution. Imperfect action is not the endpoint, but the starting point for improvement. Iteration transforms raw effort into increasingly polished outcomes while maintaining momentum. Act decisively rather than overanalyzing. Analysis paralysis often delays action in the pursuit of perfection. Collect necessary information, make informed choices, and move forward. Taking action generates clarity, reveals obstacles, and provides opportunities to adapt. Progress emerges from doing, not endless contemplation. Each step taken provides new data that informs smarter decisions in subsequent efforts. Cultivate resilience in response to imperfection. Recognize that initial attempts may be flawed, and outcomes may differ from expectations. Resilience allows persistence despite setbacks and reinforces the understanding that imperfection is inherent in growth. Those who act imperfectly but consistently often achieve results that surpass those who wait indefinitely for ideal conditions. Focus on contribution rather than flawlessness. Completing a task, delivering a message, or taking steps forward has value regardless of imperfections. Action impacts circumstances, creates opportunity, and inspires further effort. Even partial completion moves objectives forward, produces learning, and demonstrates commitment. Contribution through imperfect action fosters progress and influence. Reduce fear associated with imperfection. Fear of judgment, failure, or inadequacy often prevents initiation. Accept that every effort will contain flaws, and that external validation is secondary to internal growth. Courage to act despite imperfection builds confidence, self-reliance, and decisiveness. Each courageous step reinforces the mindset that forward motion matters more than flawless execution. Develop habits that encourage immediate implementation. When ideas or insights arise, translate them into action promptly. Delaying for ideal timing or conditions undermines opportunity. Small, consistent acts of imperfect execution accumulate, creating significant progress over time. The habit of acting promptly strengthens momentum, focus, and adaptability. View imperfection as a signal for learning rather than a barrier. Each mistake or limitation reveals information that informs improvement. Observing what works and what does not accelerates skill development. Imperfect action is inherently productive because it generates data, experience, and perspective unavailable through waiting or over-planning. Celebrate progress from imperfect action. Acknowledge each step forward, no matter how small or flawed. Recognition reinforces motivation, encourages continued effort, and strengthens the habit of acting. Progress, not perfection, is the true indicator of growth and potential realized. Apply imperfect action across all areas of life. Whether personal development, professional tasks, relationships, or creative endeavors, forward movement matters more than flawless execution. Action creates learning, builds competence, and demonstrates commitment. Waiting for perfection consistently limits results, while action produces measurable outcomes and personal growth. Integrate reflection with action. After completing imperfect steps, review results to identify lessons and opportunities for refinement. Reflection ensures that effort is purposeful, mistakes are informative, and strategies are adjusted effectively. This cycle of action, assessment, and adjustment transforms imperfect efforts into continuous improvement. Surround yourself with people who support action over perfection. Encouragement from individuals who value effort and growth reduces hesitation, increases accountability, and reinforces courage to start. Collaborative environments that prioritize doing and learning from experience foster a culture of momentum, experimentation, and advancement. Recognize that perfectionism often disguises fear of failure. Confronting the fear directly by acting despite uncertainty builds courage and resilience. Each attempt strengthens confidence, reduces hesitation, and demonstrates capacity to handle imperfection. Over time, repeated imperfect action diminishes the power of fear and reinforces proactive behavior. Balance quality with action. Strive for competence, but accept that excellence develops over iterations. Initial imperfection is not a flaw but a natural stage of development. Immediate engagement allows refinement, skill growth, and understanding that would not occur through delay. Each imperfect step contributes to eventual mastery. Focus on long-term growth rather than temporary flawlessness. Imperfect action compounds into experience, skill, and achievement over time. Waiting for perfection sacrifices opportunity, slows momentum, and limits potential. Action, feedback, and adjustment form a cycle that accelerates improvement and produces measurable results far beyond the potential of waiting. Ultimately, taking imperfect action instead of waiting for perfection is a principle that empowers growth, builds resilience, and transforms potential into achievement. Forward movement, even when flawed, generates insight, skill, and momentum. Each attempt provides learning, reveals opportunities, and reinforces confidence. Action converts intention into reality, while perfectionism leaves it unrealized. Consistently acting despite imperfection creates progress, mastery, and the sustained capability to reach higher levels of success in every area of life. Chapter 17c. Practice gratitude while striving for higher standards. Gratitude is often misunderstood as passive contentment, but it is a powerful mindset that enhances focus, resilience, and clarity. Practicing gratitude does not conflict with ambition or high standards. It complements them by creating perspective and motivation. Recognizing what is already working in life provides energy, optimism, and awareness of resources available to pursue greater achievements. Striving for higher standards while appreciating progress creates balance between aspiration and fulfillment, preventing burnout and frustration. Gratitude grounds effort, reminding the mind that growth is built on existing foundations rather than endless dissatisfaction. Begin by identifying elements in your life that contribute to your current well-being and progress. These can include relationships, skills, knowledge, opportunities, or even personal resilience developed through challenges. Reflecting on these elements daily nurtures awareness of strengths and assets, which can then be leveraged toward more ambitious goals. Gratitude allows focus on what can be improved rather than obsessing over shortcomings, creating a mindset that fuels both performance and well-being. Expressing appreciation for small successes reinforces achievement. Recognizing incremental wins, completed tasks, or learned lessons strengthens confidence and persistence. Each acknowledgement, even if brief, reminds the mind of progress already made and validates consistent effort. This practice reduces the psychological weight of ambitious goals, making high standards feel achievable rather than overwhelming. Gratitude also enhances resilience during difficult periods. When challenges arise, reflecting on previous accomplishments, supportive people, or lessons learned provides perspective and reduces the impact of temporary setbacks. Acknowledging positive aspects of life builds emotional stability, enabling sustained focus on improvement. Striving for higher standards is more sustainable when supported by a foundation of gratitude because it prevents discouragement and supports steady momentum. Integrate gratitude into daily routines. Simple practices such as journaling, verbal acknowledgement, or mental reflection at the start or end of each day cultivate awareness of value and progress. Repetition reinforces the habit and ensures that appreciation becomes automatic rather than occasional. The combination of consistent reflection and deliberate recognition strengthens motivation and aligns mindset with long-term objectives. Strive for excellence by setting clear and challenging goals while maintaining gratitude for the ability to pursue them. Recognize that opportunity, capacity, and resources exist that enable progress. Awareness of these assets reinforces responsibility and intentionality in action. Gratitude serves as a lens that frames high standards as attainable, rather than as a source of pressure or frustration. This balance encourages consistent effort while maintaining psychological well-being. Use gratitude to enhance relationships that support high standards. Acknowledging the guidance, collaboration, or mentorship of others reinforces bonds and encourages continued support. Positive reinforcement strengthens accountability and motivates both parties toward growth. Healthy relationships grounded in mutual appreciation foster an environment where excellence is expected, reinforced, and celebrated. Combine reflection with forward-looking action. Gratitude for past progress does not replace ambition, it informs it. By recognizing what has been achieved, you gain insight into methods, habits, and decisions that work effectively. These insights become the basis for setting higher standards and planning future action. Reflection through gratitude ensures that ambition is grounded in reality, focused, and productive rather than abstract or unattainable. Avoid conflating gratitude with complacency. Being thankful does not mean accepting mediocrity or lowering expectations. Instead, it emphasizes recognition of value while motivating continued growth. Gratitude clarifies priorities, highlights strengths, and enhances awareness of areas for improvement. This dual approach ensures that effort remains directed toward meaningful progress rather than being diluted by either dissatisfaction or entitlement. Gratitude enhances mental clarity and decision-making. By appreciating existing resources, knowledge, and support systems, choices become more informed, strategic, and effective. Decisions rooted in awareness of strengths and opportunities are more likely to produce high-quality outcomes. Gratitude aligns perception with reality, preventing overestimation of challenges or underestimation of potential. Integrate challenge with recognition. Pursue higher standards by consistently testing limits, expanding skills, and increasing accountability. Simultaneously acknowledge the ability, effort, and resilience that enable this pursuit. This dual approach creates a balanced mindset where effort is ambitious but grounded in appreciation. Recognition of capability strengthens confidence, while aspiration directs energy toward meaningful growth. Focus gratitude on self-awareness and personal development. Appreciate the effort invested, lessons learned, and progress made regardless of outcome. Recognizing internal growth reinforces intrinsic motivation, reduces dependency on external validation, and supports continued effort toward higher standards. Self-appreciation creates resilience, focus, and a sense of competence that sustains progress over time. Use gratitude as a motivator rather than a reward. Appreciation for opportunities, effort, and progress energizes action rather than signaling completion. This approach turns recognition into a source of momentum, where gratitude fuels ambition and enhances focus on improvement. High standards are easier to pursue when progress is acknowledged and internalized as evidence of capability. Practice gratitude during moments of discomfort or challenge. Recognize the lessons, growth, and strength gained from difficult experiences. This perspective transforms obstacles into opportunities for improvement rather than sources of discouragement. Striving for excellence is sustained when adversity is reframed as a teacher, supported by the grounding awareness of progress and capability. Integrate gratitude with accountability. Track progress while acknowledging effort and achievement. Accountability systems combined with appreciation create motivation loops that reinforce discipline, learning, and persistence. The combination ensures that effort is both recognized and directed toward increasingly ambitious objectives. enhancing both consistency and effectiveness. Gratitude strengthens emotional intelligence, which supports high standards. Awareness of value, effort, and support promotes empathy, patience, and effective communication. These qualities enhance collaboration, leadership, and the ability to maintain high expectations without generating conflict or resentment. Emotional awareness allows ambition to be pursued in ways that strengthen relationships and networks. Balance appreciation for current achievements with realistic assessment of future goals. Recognizing strengths and accomplishments provides confidence, while clear understanding of growth areas informs target setting. This balance ensures that high standards are pursued deliberately rather than impulsively, reducing risk of burnout or frustration. Striving becomes structured, sustainable, and effective. Leverage gratitude to maintain focus. Appreciation for current resources, skills, and opportunities reduces distraction from envy, comparison, or dissatisfaction. This focus ensures energy is allocated to productive action rather than wasted on unproductive thoughts or emotions. Mindful gratitude strengthens concentration, perseverance, and deliberate effort toward high standards. Ultimately, practicing gratitude while striving for higher standards creates a mindset that supports continuous improvement, resilience, and sustainable achievement. Appreciation reinforces confidence, motivation, and perspective, while ambition directs energy toward meaningful goals. The combination produces a cycle of reflection, recognition, and action that strengthens capability, sharpens focus, and ensures progress over time. Gratitude becomes a tool to fuel effort rather than diminish it, enabling high standards to be pursued effectively, consistently, and with clarity of purpose. Chapter 18T. Manage time wisely and protect productive hours. Time is the most valuable resource, and managing it wisely is essential for achieving meaningful results. Every hour represents an opportunity that, once spent, cannot be regained. Productivity is not about doing more, but about doing what matters with focus and efficiency. Protecting your productive hours requires clarity on priorities, elimination of distractions, and disciplined allocation of energy. Understanding the difference between urgent tasks and important tasks ensures effort is directed toward actions that contribute to growth and long-term success. Begin by evaluating how time is currently spent. Identify activities that consume hours without producing value or progress. Awareness of these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming time for high-impact work. Time audits, journaling, or digital tracking can reveal patterns of distraction, procrastination, or low-priority engagement. Recognizing these behaviors empowers deliberate adjustments that increase focus and effectiveness. Prioritize tasks based on importance rather than urgency. Many people spend energy responding to demands that feel urgent but do not advance meaningful goals. Distinguish between activities that produce long-term results and those that are simply reactive. Allocate prime energy periods to high-value work, ensuring that critical tasks receive attention when mental focus and motivation are highest. Create structured routines to maximize efficiency. Consistent schedules reduce decision fatigue, enhance focus, and reinforce productive habits. Routines create predictable periods for deep work, reflection, skill development, and rest. Time allocated intentionally to specific categories of work prevents drift into low-value activities and ensures that effort is concentrated where it counts. Set boundaries to protect productive hours. Interruptions from messages, calls, or unnecessary meetings fragment focus and diminish output. Communicate availability clearly. Establish periods of undisturbed work, and resist the compulsion to respond immediately to every demand. Protecting attention is as crucial as managing tasks themselves, because sustained focus enables deeper thinking, higher quality work, and faster completion of meaningful objectives. Use time blocking to assign specific periods for tasks and responsibilities, allocating defined slots for projects, learning, planning, and personal development reduces wasted time and increases accountability. Structured allocation ensures that no critical activity is neglected and prevents overcommitment to low-priority obligations. Time blocking reinforces discipline, clarity, and intentional action. Eliminate distractions that erode productive hours. Digital notifications, social media, excessive multitasking, and unstructured communication steal focus and reduce efficiency. Identify the sources of distraction and implement strategies to minimize or remove them. Consider turning off notifications, creating dedicated workspaces, or setting specific intervals for non-essential engagement. Reducing interruptions protects cognitive energy and allows tasks to be completed faster and with higher quality. Leverage technology and tools to enhance efficiency. Task management apps, calendar systems, and digital reminders help organize priorities, deadlines, and responsibilities. Proper use of technology can streamline workflows, reduce memory burden, and ensure important tasks are executed on time. Tools are effective when applied strategically, supporting clarity and consistency rather than creating dependency or distraction. Break larger projects into smaller actionable steps. Complex or overwhelming tasks can lead to procrastination and wasted time. Dividing work into manageable components allows progress to be made consistently. Each completed step provides momentum, measurable results, and clarity about next actions, reducing stress and increasing overall productivity. Establish clear goals to guide time management decisions. Without defined objectives, effort can drift into low-value or reactive activities. Goals provide direction, benchmarks for progress, and motivation for focused effort. Align daily actions with overarching goals to ensure that time invested produces meaningful outcomes rather than merely filling the day with activity. Implement regular reflection and review periods. Assess how time was spent, what was accomplished, and where improvements can be made. Adjust strategies to enhance efficiency, remove bottlenecks, and reallocate hours to high-impact areas. Reflection ensures that time management evolves in response to priorities, energy levels, and changing circumstances, preventing stagnation or wasted effort. Recognize energy as a factor in time management. Certain hours of the day naturally produce higher focus, creativity, and stamina. Schedule demanding or critical work during peak energy periods and allocate lower energy periods for routine or administrative tasks. Aligning effort with energy levels enhances productivity and ensures that the most important work receives optimal attention. Practice saying no to low-value requests or commitments. Time spent fulfilling obligations that do not align with priorities diminishes the hours available for meaningful action. Polite but firm refusal preserves focus, reinforces discipline, and communicates that high standards and goals are non-negotiable. Protecting time in this way is essential to sustain high performance. Delegate tasks when appropriate to focus on high-impact work. Identify responsibilities that can be handled by others without compromising quality. Delegation frees cognitive and temporal resources for activities that directly drive results, skill development, or strategic growth. Effective delegation enhances efficiency and supports consistent progress toward significant goals. Develop habits that reinforce disciplined use of time. Morning routines, scheduled work intervals, and planned breaks cultivate awareness and control over daily hours. Habits automate focus, reduce decision fatigue, and ensure consistent progress without relying solely on motivation. Over time, disciplined routines produce compounded results, turning small daily actions into substantial achievement. Use deadlines strategically to maintain momentum. Setting specific time limits for tasks encourages prompt action, reduces procrastination, and improves focus. Deadlines provide structure for planning, clarify priorities, and create accountability for execution. Even self-imposed deadlines can enhance efficiency and ensure that productive hours are maximized. Integrate reflection with action. After completing tasks or projects, evaluate how time was utilized, what was learned, and where improvements can be applied in the future. This cycle reinforces learning, optimizes strategies, and ensures that subsequent hours are increasingly productive. Time management improves when effort is combined with intentional assessment and adjustment. Maintain balance between work and rest. Productivity is sustained when energy and focus are replenished. Protecting hours for rest, reflection, and recovery prevents burnout, enhances cognitive performance, and supports consistent high-quality output. Managing time wisely includes allocating periods for physical, mental, and emotional recovery to sustain long-term effectiveness. Focus on eliminating low-value habits that consume time unconsciously. Checking emails repeatedly, excessive social media scrolling, or engaging in non-essential routines dilutes productive hours. Identify patterns, establish alternative behaviors, and create systems that channel attention toward high-priority actions. Removing inefficiencies amplifies available time for meaningful work. Ultimately, managing time wisely and protecting productive hours transforms potential into results. Each decision about how to use time compounds into opportunity, skill, and achievement. Deliberate focus on priorities, disciplined routines, strategic boundaries, and reflection ensures that every hour contributes meaningfully to growth, progress, and long-term success. Time is finite, and how it is used determines the trajectory of personal and professional development. Wise management of hours amplifies effort, strengthens discipline, and ensures that goals are pursued with clarity, consistency, and impact. Chapter 19: Stay consistent even when motivation feels low. Consistency is the single most powerful factor in achieving long-term success because results are built through repeated effort over time. Motivation fluctuates naturally, influenced by mood, energy, circumstances, and external events. Relying solely on motivation to take action is unreliable and often leads to procrastination or abandoned goals. Discipline and commitment are far more dependable than fleeting enthusiasm. Staying consistent even when motivation is low ensures that progress continues regardless of emotional state and that long-term objectives remain within reach. Begin by creating a routine that anchors action to habit rather than feeling. Habits do not require motivation once they are established. They become automatic patterns that drive behavior. Identify key actions that produce meaningful results and integrate them into daily routines. Completing these actions consistently, regardless of mood, builds momentum, competence, and resilience over time. Set clear, achievable micro-goals to maintain focus. Breaking larger objectives into manageable steps makes action feel attainable, even when energy or enthusiasm is lacking. Completing small tasks reinforces a sense of accomplishment and keeps forward movement steady. Each step, however minor, contributes to cumulative progress, demonstrating that consistent effort outpaces sporadic bursts of motivation. Embrace discipline as a non-negotiable foundation. Discipline is the ability to act according to purpose rather than desire. It allows effort to continue when motivation fades, when distractions arise, or when challenges create discomfort. Strengthening discipline involves committing to defined actions, setting boundaries, and adhering to routines even under resistance. Over time, consistent action builds character, endurance, and skill. Use accountability to reinforce consistency. Sharing goals with a trusted partner, mentor, or community creates external pressure to maintain effort even when internal drive is weak. Accountability provides structure, support, and feedback, ensuring that actions continue toward objectives. Regular check-ins, reporting progress, and adjusting strategies collectively strengthen the habit of persistent effort. Focus on long-term vision rather than short-term feelings. Motivation is inherently tied to temporary conditions, but the bigger picture provides context and purpose. Reminding yourself why a goal matters and what it contributes to overall life direction encourages action despite low energy or interest. Anchoring effort to vision creates internal commitment that supersedes fluctuating emotions. Track progress to reinforce behavior. Monitoring consistent action and recognizing the results of cumulative effort provides motivation rooted in evidence rather than emotion. Journaling, charts, or digital tracking systems allow visualization of incremental improvements. Observing progress builds confidence, validates effort, and strengthens the tendency to maintain consistent habits even in challenging periods. Develop strategies to overcome resistance. Low motivation often triggers procrastination, distraction, or avoidance. Identify predictable patterns and implement pre-planned actions to counteract them. This could include predetermined start times, fixed work intervals, or specific environmental adjustments. By reducing reliance on fluctuating willpower, consistent action becomes easier to maintain. Separate action from emotion. Consistency does not require feeling inspired, energized, or confident at every moment. Focus on completing tasks as a matter of routine and responsibility rather than waiting for ideal conditions. Action in the absence of motivation gradually restores energy, reinforces self-discipline, and produces momentum that eventually fuels intrinsic motivation. Use external cues to maintain habits. Environmental triggers, reminders, or signals can prompt action even when motivation is low. Associating specific locations, objects, or times with particular actions reduces dependence on emotional drive. These cues reinforce routine, minimize resistance, and support persistence. Over time, action becomes automatic, and effort is sustained independently of mood. Incorporate rewards strategically to reinforce consistent behavior. Recognition of completed actions, personal acknowledgement, or small celebrations of progress provide feedback and maintain engagement. Rewards do not replace the principle of action without motivation, but they enhance reinforcement, making consistent behavior more sustainable over long periods. Accept that low motivation is a normal part of any process. Rather than resisting or resenting temporary dips in drive, acknowledge them and commit to structured effort. Understanding that consistency is superior to motivation provides perspective and reduces emotional frustration. Action despite low motivation builds resilience, confidence, and a sense of mastery over self. Adjust expectations to maintain consistency. Some days may allow less effort than others due to external circumstances, fatigue, or competing responsibilities. Focus on maintaining some level of action rather than perfection. Consistent minimal effort is superior to intermittent bursts of productivity fueled by temporary enthusiasm. Each small act reinforces the habit and contributes to long-term results. Leverage intrinsic rewards of consistent action. Completing tasks, building competence, and witnessing measurable progress generate satisfaction independent of external validation or temporary motivation. Internal reward systems reinforce the value of routine effort and sustained behavior over time. Action becomes self-reinforcing as habits take hold and outcomes accumulate. Plan for high-risk periods. Anticipate days or situations when motivation will likely be low and prepare strategies in advance. This may include simplified task lists, pre-set priorities, or time blocks reserved for critical action. Planning reduces friction, prevents procrastination, and ensures momentum continues through challenging phases. Focus on identity rather than outcome. Consistency is easier when actions align with the person you intend to become rather than a single external result. View yourself as someone who shows up, acts intentionally, and persists regardless of circumstance. Identity-based action strengthens habit formation, reduces reliance on motivation, and reinforces long-term commitment. Cultivate resilience against setbacks. Low motivation often coincides with obstacles or challenges. Recognize that setbacks are natural, and consistent effort through difficulty reinforces capability, confidence, and determination. Persistence despite resistance builds a track record of achievement that gradually reduces dependency on fluctuating emotional states. Combine accountability, structure, and reflection to strengthen practice. Consistent action is reinforced by regular assessment of progress, adjustment of strategies, and recognition of achievement. Reflection allows learning from lapses, prevents repetition of unproductive behaviors, and maintains alignment with overarching goals. This cycle supports sustained effort through periods of low motivation. Focus on momentum over perfection. Starting action, even minimally, often produces renewed energy and motivation. Movement breeds movement. Completing small steps can restore focus and drive. Recognize that perfect conditions are not required to act, and that consistent, incremental effort ultimately produces far greater results than waiting for ideal circumstances. Integrate self-compassion with discipline. Being consistent does not mean harsh self-criticism when motivation lags. Treat low motivation as a natural condition, respond with structure, and resume action promptly. Compassion combined with discipline ensures that persistence is sustainable, psychologically healthy, and aligned with long-term goals. Ultimately, staying consistent even when motivation feels low transforms potential into progress. Discipline, routine, and intentional action bridge the gap between ambition and results. Reliance on motivation is replaced by habit, planning, and structured effort. Every action taken, no matter how small or uninspired, compounds into skill, accomplishment, and forward momentum. Those who persist through low motivation develop resilience, mastery, and the ability to achieve goals far beyond what fleeting enthusiasm could ever produce. Chapter 20. Commit lifelong to growth and refuse average living. Committing to lifelong growth requires a mindset that views every day as an opportunity to improve, learn, and become stronger in every aspect of life. Growth is not a temporary pursuit or a phase that fades once immediate goals are met. It is a continuous process that demands curiosity, humility, persistence, and self-discipline. Refusing average living begins with rejecting complacency and mediocrity, understanding that comfort zones limit potential, and embracing challenges as opportunities to expand abilities. Lifelong growth is a deliberate choice to prioritize improvement over ease, progress over stagnation, and mastery over familiarity. Start by embracing the mindset that life is a series of lessons waiting to be learned. Every experience, success, failure, and encounter provides data for refinement. Adopting the perspective that learning never stops allows you to extract value from situations that others dismiss. Personal growth requires attention, reflection, and action based on these lessons. Each choice and action can either move you closer to your highest potential or maintain the status quo, and awareness of this distinction is critical to refusing average living. Set ambitious standards for yourself in all areas of life. Average living is often the result of settling for minimal effort, avoiding challenges, and tolerating mediocrity in skills, habits, or relationships. High standards demand continuous evaluation of what is possible and a willingness to act decisively to reach it. Lifelong growth is fueled by consistently aiming higher, learning faster, and refusing to accept limitations imposed by comfort or fear. Develop self-awareness to identify areas for improvement. Honest evaluation of strengths and weaknesses is foundational for meaningful growth. Recognize patterns of behavior, habits, and decisions that contribute to stagnation or diminished potential. Self-awareness allows targeted action, creating an efficient path to improvement rather than random or reactive effort. Tracking personal development over time reveals progress and areas requiring renewed focus, reinforcing commitment to continual advancement. Invest time in skill development and knowledge acquisition continuously. Growth is a product of active effort, not passive expectation. Deliberate learning through reading, practicing, and engaging with mentors or experts ensures that capabilities expand steadily. Applying new knowledge immediately solidifies learning and produces tangible results. Rejecting average living requires consistent effort to stay ahead of the curve and enhance competence in every sphere. Build resilience to overcome obstacles and setbacks. Lifelong growth is not linear. Challenges and failures are inevitable. Developing the capacity to persevere, adapt, and learn from adversity is essential. Refusing average living means refusing to let obstacles dictate limits or define identity. Every setback is a lesson, and every challenge an opportunity to strengthen discipline, skill, and confidence. Resilience ensures that progress continues, even under pressure or uncertainty. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire, challenge, and hold you accountable. Lifelong growth is accelerated by relationships that elevate standards, provide constructive feedback, and foster ambition. Avoid environments that normalize mediocrity, encourage excuses, or diminish aspiration. The company you keep significantly influences behavior, mindset, and results. Refusing average living requires choosing associations that demand excellence and inspire consistent improvement. Practice reflection regularly to reinforce learning and growth. Periodically evaluating decisions, actions, and outcomes provides insight into patterns of success and failure. Reflection transforms experience into wisdom, allowing adjustment of strategies, reinforcement of effective habits, and elimination of unproductive behaviors. Without reflection, growth can be haphazard and slow. Committing to lifelong improvement requires structured attention to both action and insight. Cultivate discipline as a foundation for sustained growth. Motivation fluctuates, but disciplined action produces results consistently. Daily effort, even in the absence of inspiration, compounds into significant advancement over time. Discipline ensures that the pursuit of excellence is not contingent on emotion or circumstance, but is an intentional and reliable force driving progress. Refusing average living demands consistent practice, deliberate focus, and unwavering commitment. Align actions with purpose and values to maintain direction. Lifelong growth is more sustainable when efforts are coherent with personal principles and long-term vision. Understanding why goals matter provides clarity, focus, and persistence. Purpose-driven action prevents aimless effort and fosters commitment to high standards. Rejecting mediocrity is easier when every step is intentional, guided by a clear sense of what truly matters. Maintain a balance between ambition and reflection. Pursuing growth relentlessly without assessment leads to wasted effort or misaligned priorities. Evaluate the effectiveness of strategies, adjust plans, and refine approaches regularly. Balanced action ensures progress is meaningful, deliberate, and sustainable. Lifelong commitment to improvement requires both movement and thought to optimize results continually. Integrate physical, mental, and emotional development to achieve holistic growth. Personal excellence encompasses more than knowledge or skills. It involves health, mindset, emotional intelligence, and character. Ignoring any dimension limits potential. Lifelong commitment means nurturing all aspects of self through exercise, learning, self-reflection, and relationship management. A well-rounded approach amplifies resilience, energy, and capacity to perform at higher standards consistently. Adopt a mindset of continuous challenge. Growth occurs at the edge of comfort, where effort meets uncertainty and skills are tested. Avoid seeking ease as a standard. Pursue challenges that stretch capability, push boundaries, and develop adaptability. Refusing average living requires consistent exposure to difficulty to cultivate strength, innovation, and competence. Each challenge conquered reinforces confidence and readiness for future obstacles. Celebrate progress while maintaining ambition. Recognition of improvement sustains motivation and reinforces positive behavior. However, celebration does not equate to complacency. Lifelong growth requires balance. Acknowledge achievements, but quickly turn attention to the next objective. This approach ensures momentum remains, and standards continue to rise over time. Avoiding average living demands that celebration energizes rather than halts progress. Practice accountability to yourself and others. Set measurable goals, track progress, and seek feedback to ensure alignment with high standards. Accountability enhances commitment, reduces procrastination, and highlights areas needing improvement. External and internal checks maintain focus, prevent drift, and reinforce consistent effort toward continuous development. Lifelong growth is cultivated by monitoring performance and adjusting rigorously. Stay curious and embrace learning as a constant. Curiosity drives innovation, insight, and adaptability. Lifelong growth is fueled by an open mind that seeks new perspectives, questions assumptions, and integrates lessons from diverse experiences. Curiosity prevents stagnation and mediocrity, ensuring that knowledge, skill, and understanding evolve continuously. Rejecting average living requires perpetual intellectual engagement. Develop patience while pursuing excellence. Significant growth and mastery cannot be achieved overnight. Recognize that incremental progress compounds over years into extraordinary results. Patience coupled with persistence maintains focus and effort even when immediate outcomes are not visible. Lifelong growth demands long-term thinking, resilience, and acceptance that meaningful progress accumulates gradually. Take responsibility for every decision and outcome. Owning successes and failures strengthens accountability and encourages learning. Blaming external factors limits growth, while responsibility cultivates control, insight, and maturity. Lifelong commitment to improvement is inseparable from the willingness to accept full ownership of life, decisions, and development. Prioritize quality over quantity in effort and results. Pursuing excellence requires intentional focus on high-value actions and meaningful achievements rather than superficial or rapid outputs. Lifelong growth is built through deliberate practice, careful refinement, and depth of understanding. Rejecting average living means investing effort where it produces lasting impact and genuine skill enhancement. Finally, commit fully to the mindset that personal growth has no endpoint. Every day presents a chance to improve, adapt, and expand capability. By consistently seeking progress, learning relentlessly, and refusing mediocrity, life becomes a continual journey of achievement, resilience, and self-mastery. Lifelong growth ensures that potential is realized to the fullest and that living beyond average becomes the standard, not the exception.